Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town Board meeting of February 4th, 2025. If our Chief of Police could send in the colors, and if we could all rise. Okay, and if you could join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Lieutenant Graham, could you please start us? Welcome back. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, if we could remain standing for a moment of silence, I would like to remember a couple people who recently passed. We lost our first Holocaust Remembrance speaker, Sam Matza, about 2 weeks ago now. We also lost, I found out, one of our longtime conservation board members, James Patrick Francois. Was a very knowledgeable man and did a lot for our community with the conservation board. And I just learned of the passing Saturday of a Yorktown resident, Christopher Katz, who was a Capitol Police recruit and U.S. Army reservist who was killed in an automobile accident in Georgia over the weekend at the age of 22 years of age. Just very tragic. And also special prayer and thoughts towards Alice Roker, who has been ill, and we pray for her. Amen. Thank you. Okay, we'll start with introductions to my right.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Luciana Howitt, Councilwoman.
Supervisor Ed Lachterman.
Deputy Supervisor Sergio Esposito.
Councilman Patrick Murphy.
Councilwoman Susan Siegel.
Town Attorney Adam Rodriguez.
Okay. Just report to the town. I wanted to share a few of the events I had gone to over the past weekend. And we're going to talk about something we did during the week, which I won't go into great detail with because we're going to be having a presentation on that later. But this past Saturday was Eagle Fest, put on by T-Town at Croton Point. It was really an amazing presentation. They had a show with birds of prey. They had places you could go and watch the eagles, and it was some great learning opportunities and really a very, very educational day, to say the least. They had hundreds and hundreds of people, probably in the thousands, to be honest with you. They were coming in from down in the city, all over the area, and I would recommend anyone in the area. T-Town is like a little hidden gem, and a lot of learning, a lot of nature. They have camps. We're probably going to have them come in and talk on one of the supervisor shows. So there's some great opportunities to educate and have some things for your kids to do. After that, there was a grand opening at Art and Soul, which is in the brick building by the diner, which is a art class / studio. And very, very nice presentation there. That he did wonderful things with the site, and just part of the arts and culture that Yorktown's trying to build upon. So if you get a chance, stop by there, say hello. Very nice place. On Sunday, I got the honor of being invited to participate in the Judge James Reitz Vision Breakfast, which happens in Mayapack at one of the shuls there. And it's religious and community leaders who get together. They talk about the vision that they have and where they want to go. And it's a great opportunity to exchange ideas. So it was a very nice breakfast. There were quite a few Yorktowners in the room that belonged to the temple there. And it was really a great time. And later, one of the things that I enjoy going to every year, as we talk about the sacrifice of our servicemen and hold them in our hearts, the American Legion Post 1009, the first weekend or the first Sunday of every year, they put on the first Sunday in February of every year, they put on their ceremony of the four chaplains, and it's to commemorate four chaplains who, after the USAT Dorchester got struck by a torpedo, excuse me, they gave up their life vests for other soldiers so they could survive, and they went down with the ship arm in arm. So a very, very powerful service that they always do. Right. Luke?
I think you got a lot of it covered, and I'm going to pass it back to Sergio to tell us about all the fun stuff that's going on in town. Nice to see everyone today.
No, later.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. So we did honor Boy Scout Troop 164 and 5164 the other day, and it was Brenna Ashling Rosario, Henry Lazo Rankin, Devin Anthony Tudos, Mario DiPaolo Gulli, and Mark Diacutis, all made Eagle. Very, very powerful, very proud of them. But I told them, I said, the town's proud of you. Your parents are proud of you. The people that should be proud of you the most is yourself for such a monumental accomplishment. So congratulations to them. I do want to say that we have quite a bit of stores and activity coming in. Just let me grab my post here. So as the supervisor mentioned, Art and Soul just opened, really great place. A lot of beautiful art, and I believe Rita is capturing the essence of women in her imagery. So it's very nice. We have Five Below. Their grand opening is now going to be, when is it?
The 14th.
It's going to be February 14th. They are hashtag open for business right now. They did a soft opening. They're trying to iron out the kinks. They got a lot of people in there to help them iron out the kinks. So they are open, but their official grand opening is going to be the 14th. Michael's is tentatively going to be opening sometime in March. And the legendary Miraggio's Italian restaurant, family-style restaurant, that many of us who lived in Yorktown for so many years had our baptisms and communions, and I think my daughter's baptism was there. Anyway, the original owner, Parr, we met him today. He's in great shape. He's doing well, and they're in the process of opening up. And I think they're looking at now mid-March?
Mid to late March.
Mid to late March. The place looks absolutely beautiful. They're doing quite a great job. People have been asking us about Sport Time Pickleball. Sport Time Pickleball will probably be open late August of this year, early fall. They're shooting for late August. The Dunkin' Donuts on 202, they were originally across the street in the BJ's parking lot. They're moving across the street. Their build-out, their construction has commenced. We don't have a grand opening date for them yet.
He's looking for June.
He's looking for what?
June.
He's looking for June. Oh, great. And then we're actually going to have two Spanish-style restaurants coming. One is going to be Latin Fusion. One is going to be, I think, Mexican, right? Mexican stuff.
El
like
Nacho.
that. What's it called?
El Nacho?
I'm not sure what the name
El
is.
Nacho?
But they're coming to the Heights area, so that's exciting. We also have a ramen noodle place coming. We
I'm very
also
excited
have
about that.
and we also have a dumpling place coming. The
About
Triangle.
time, more than pizza.
People ask why so many pizza shops. We're trying to change it up. The Acme in the Triangle Shopping Center is going for a full interior remodel coming soon. So they're pouring quite a few bucks into the remodel, and they're really modernizing and upgrading everything. So it's going to be wonderful. The Triangle Shopping Center, they have the signs up. You may have seen them that they're reimagining the site. Well, they are looking to start construction and start reimagining the site sometime in March. So that's coming, and I know that there are a lot of national retailers that are knocking at their front steps, at their front door, that want to get in, but they're waiting for they're waiting for them to reimagine it and upgrade it. Everybody wants to move into the new places, so they're making it new. And we talked about one last thing that's a big thing that everybody keeps talking about is the Turcos building. The Turcos building is going to. They've completely gutted it already, and they are going to divide it into 3 separate spaces. And they have actually 2 of the spaces, which are about 10,000 square feet each. They already have letters of intent out to some retailers, and we're hoping we introduce them to a restaurateur for the 3rd space, which would be about 7,000 square feet. Again, all tentative, but all very exciting. We've got a lot of stuff going on. You also have Guiding Eyes for the Blind that's putting up their new site. Who am I missing? I mean, there's so many.
Well, I think that's enough. Let's leave
That's
something
enough?
for another
That's-
meeting
all right,
so we have something to talk about.
Lastly, the Yorktown High School varsity and JV cheerleaders are heading to Florida
Yes, they are.
for a huge competition. So let's keep them in our mind and cheer them on. The Lakeland High School basketball team and the Yorktown basketball team, varsity teams, are doing very well. So the high school sports are in full swing. Wrestling, the wrestling teams are doing very well. So just a lot of positive energy here in Yorktown that we're very grateful for. Thank you.
Well, I just got a flurry notice from our Yorktown Parks and Rec that he's predicting that we are going to have a snowstorm this Thursday. So if you have anyone who wants to go out, there's no age restriction, to build a snowman, feel free to hashtag Yorktown Snowman Contest 2025 and post it on the Yorktown Parks and Rec Instagram page, or you can DM them or send it to their YPR at yorktownnewyork.gov. Chief, I'm looking at you like you have nothing better to do than make me a really great snowman. So I'm hoping that the weatherman is wrong, but if he's not, everyone get out there and build us a snowman.
All right, I guess I'm next. So I'll make mine quicker than Sergio's. But so I had a very interesting Zoom call, and I'll give a little tidbit of information. It was on the repurposing of malls. So basically, there was probably about 100 people on the Zoom call. But there's 3 things you could do with a mall, because we have Jefferson Valley right here. And, they're talking about you could demo it and redevelop it. You could let it go into foreclosure, or you could, rebrand it. I think Jefferson Village is going to rebranding, and this is all part of the Amazon effect. And this is going back, Sergio had that post. It was a great post, Sergio, that laid out all the stuff. Like, Yorktown is they're flourishing right now, Yorktown. So, we don't have to do that much with the mall. They're going to come in and do it for us. We have to do a little bit to it. But for the most part, it's not like right now there's 3.2 million square feet that's either vacant or empty in the Hudson Valley area. And those malls sit on, 2,100 acres. So we're very blessed that something's happening there, and we're not sitting on a vacant mall that nothing's coming through. So, but it's a bit up to you, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you. I just have some updates on some less exciting issues, infrastructure, dull but kind of important to our quality of life. For those interested in fluoridation, this is just an update that the Justice Department, on behalf of the EPA, filed an appeal of the district court's decision. The appeal was filed on January 17th. Now, we all know that there's a change in administration on January 20th. but we don't know what if anything, that will mean, because the person in charge of the chemical division at EPA is an industry person, so that might qualify things. So let's wait and see on the fluoridation issue. I've had several calls from homeowners who are involved in the proposed Halleck's Mill sewer extension, which has been going on for many years. They asked me what's happening. Unfortunately, I had to give them bad news that for the second time, the town did not get the grant that it applied for. So we're kind of at a standstill without getting any additional funds. I don't think the project can go through. The town board will have to discuss what other options, if any, there are for that. In the meantime, I am concerned that we still keep that commitment for the $10 million East of Hudson Fund, because some other northern Westchester communities are also interested in sewer projects, and they're going to be competing and asking for money. So we've got to keep our fingers crossed and see if we can figure out a way to do that. Also, there was, I think, a somewhat misleading article in the local paper recently about a $10 million grant from that Congressman Lawler had gotten for the Halleck's Mill project. That was an authorization only. It was not an appropriation. And anyone who follows federal budgeting, there's a world of difference between an authorization, which is meaningless. It's the appropriation that counts. And Congress has not done the major appropriation bills. I think they have a March deadline for that. So we don't have what the headline said. We're not getting $10 million. Congressman Lawler was able to, I think, get an appropriation for $1.2 million, but that's way below what we need. Also on Halleck's Mill, I think this town, I'm waiting for some updates on, in 2021, the town got a $5.8 million grant to update pump stations, and I've been asking the engineering department for some updates on what's happening with the design plans for that. So I hope that information will be forthcoming soon. We've also had a lot of talk about Route 6, and I think in one or two meetings there were discussions about some mysterious DOT study that was going to be done for Route 6, but nobody kind of has had details. I found out that that's a proposal that the DOT is going out for a request for proposals to do a study. Route 6, basically from Bear Mountain Parkway to the Taconic, and then 35 from Peekskill to the Connecticut border. But that's still very far off, and according to their plans, they talk about an estimated completion date of December 2028. So that's not going to affect any plans that the town currently is talking about for the Route 6 corridor. Also on an update, the people who are concerned about what's happening in the Peekskill Sewer District, which has a significant I&I inflow and infiltration problem, which has been discussed as part of the Toll Brothers. The town did went out for some bids. We got the results back in December 5th, but we still haven't decided to award that bid, so that's something that's pending on that. And I think since that's been hanging around since 2019, we really should get to work on that one. And then also, I'm waiting for the RFP we approved back on January 14th for the field home, but I haven't seen it listed yet. I checked as of about 4 or 5 o'clock today, and I didn't see it listed. So do you know when it's going out, Diana?
Tomorrow morning it'll be posted.
Okay, so
There's some changes that were made to the document that we wanted to make sure was correct before we post it.
so that's going out tomorrow because we're under deadline for that. And that's about all I have. And thank you all for coming. It's delightful to see a full room.
And I'll just answer a couple things real quick. So yes, the 10 million is in an appropriations bill that has not been voted on as of yet. We are hoping that is there. There is another grant that is out there that I just found out about, reading Senator Harkin's newsletter, and it's through the environmental EFC. Yes.
Is that a grant or a loan?
No, there are grants as well as loans, and one of them is a 10% that we pay. They pay 90%. I spoke with someone from EFC this afternoon, actually. They think that the fact that we're looking to bring over 600 houses off of septic, that it's a great project. So we're hoping that, he's digging up the research and seeing what we could do to try to get that.
Is that a
So-
competitive grant?
I,
And what kind of deadlines? This is the first I've heard about it.
Right, and it was the first I heard about it reading the thing today, and I called and I asked about it, and we're gonna research it. I'm gonna get the information, and I'll forward that out once it's emailed to me.
All right, because the people, like the homeowners who called me, they don't know what to do.
Susan,
terms of
no,
projects.
look, I understand. This is something that's been around way before my time.
Yeah.
You were dealing with it as a supervisor.
No, there was a moratorium and I couldn't
Oh,
deal with
right.
it.
Okay, so right after the moratorium got lifted, that's correct. But yes, we want that to happen. Every year we wait, it becomes more expensive because of the way rates are going up, and we're trying to make. Thank you. We're trying to make that a reality, and I'm not going to let it go, as I've said. So. There's that. You had mentioned the I&I project. We can't award the bid until we have the money transferred over to take care of it. We're looking into bonding. Well, the I&A project is a lot of money, so we have to
I
do that.
think the
The same thing with the pump stations, which got slowed down because of COVID. Once we get that back, where Janelle and Dan have been talking about the funding for that as well. And we're probably going to go out on either a band or a bond, but the money is large enough that we don't have it in that area for the I&I, in that special district.
I'm confused. I think the low bid for the Peekskill I&I, $180,000.
But in the district that the work is being done in, there's not enough.
So when is the board going to start making the bonding resolutions to get that thing started?
As soon as our finance and engineer figure out what they need, Susan.
All right.
They have to apply for the bond
Well, no, they need to figure out all the finances.
before they do that.
Yeah, so when we get there, and I've asked for it, and they're working out the numbers, but we're waiting on some of the other stuff. They're trying to see, do we wrap up the pump stations with it?
No, that's separate money.
Well, but
Halleck's
you
Mills
go
is
for a
separate
bond
money.
and break up the bond into the different things. Not Halleck's Mills. This is some of the pump stations are not Halleck's Mills.
So maybe we put this on as a discussion item, because
Yeah,
this is
right, we'll go.
opening comments, so I think we should move forward.
Yes, very good point. All right, John isn't here today, so no poet laureate. Chief Noble, you have the con.
Floor.
Thank you very much. All right. Good evening, everyone. We can do better than that. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chief.
All right, listen. I'm not here to talk about water or anything like that. So it is always my pleasure to stand before you and introduce new members and also recent promotions, because the promotions are well-deserved and the new addition is also well-deserved. So without any further delay, I would ask Vincent Giordano, please step up, join me on the stage. Vincent Giordano was born and raised in the town of Yorktown. He played baseball for Lakeland High School and is a black belt in karate and a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Vincent graduated from Lakeland High School in 2006, and in 2009, he earned an associate's degree in criminal justice from Westchester Community College. Vincent then went on to study corporate and homeland security at Mercy College until July 9th, 2013, when he accepted a position as a New York City police officer in the 5-2 precinct. Throughout his career in the NYPD, Vincent served as a patrol officer and intact training officer. He received 2 meritorious police duty awards. During his last 2 years there, he served as a certified field training officer. Vincent was hired by the Yorktown Police Department on November 25th, 2024, and is incredibly proud to serve his community. Vincent he completed his field training in, was it late December or early January, Vincent? Mid-January. How about that? it just seemed like it went so quick because he really hit the ground running. He was exposed. He was involved in multiple arrests and graduated the field training program again right on time, and has been out there protecting and serving his community. And he does have ties to the community, which is always nice, and works very well for us here at the town of Yorktown. So if I get a round of applause for Police Officer Vincent Giordano. At this time, I'd ask the Giordano family to please come up on stage and join Vincent. He is going to take the oath from our town clerk, Diana Quast. Come on up, Dominic. All right.
Get up here, Dom. Come on.
And Officer Giordano's wife,
being
Gina, will be
silly?
pinning his badge upon his chest right after he takes the oath.
He's so cute.
Officer Giordano, please join Town Clerk Quast over there. Take the oath.
Right over here. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Vincent Giordano,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
police officer in the town of Yorktown,
police officer in the town of Yorktown,
according to the best of your ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Gina, if you would, please pin the badge on Officer Giordano. There we go.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congrats, man. Welcome to the ground.
Thank you.
Badge looks good on you.
Enjoy your son.
And a few words from Officer Giordano to the community.
Good evening, everyone. I am Officer Vincent Giordano. I'd like to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for the opportunity that has been granted to me. For me, serving as a police officer in the community I was raised in and continue to live in with my wife and 2 children is a blessing and honor. I'd like to extend a special thanks to the town, Chief Noble and Lieutenant Graham, and everyone who helped me throughout the process to become a Yorktown police officer. I am deeply grateful to you all for bringing me on board and your guidance over the past few months. Thank you again.
And at this time, I would ask Sergeant Michael Vuoso, please join me up on stage. Michael's journey is a testament to both his dedication and versatility, moving from a passionate pursuit of music to a distinguished career in law enforcement. Born and raised in the New York area, Michael graduated from North Rockland High School. His early years were defined by a love of music, particularly the cello, which he played with remarkable skill. He took private lessons from some of the top instructors associated with the New York Philharmonic and played with both the New York Youth Symphony, easy for me to say, and the Rockland Youth Symphony, building a reputation as a talented young musician. His commitment to his craft earned him a place at the prestigious Manhattan School of Music, where he earned a bachelor's degree in music in 2006. While music was his first passion, Michael's career path took a significant turn in 2012 when he decided to pursue law enforcement. He joined the New York Police Department, the NYPD, in July of that year, embarking on a new and challenging journey. After graduating from the Police Academy in December 2012, he was assigned to the Housing Bureau in Harlem and the South Bronx. His dedication to his work and his community did not go unnoticed. Over the years, Michael earned numerous awards, including 2 Excellent Police Duty Awards, Officer of the Month, and the prestigious Medal of Valor, one of the NYPD's highest honors. Michael's career continued to evolve as he sought to take on new challenges, and in 2017 he applied for and was accepted into the NYPD Highway Patrol, where he underwent an intensive 3-month motorcycle operation training course. His skills as a motorcycle officer further honed, Michael was awarded numerous commendations, including the recognition of his bravery and service. In 2018, Michael's career took another significant step when he was hired by the Yorktown Police Department. Since joining the department, he has worked diligently in the patrol division and has been trained as a desk officer. His commitment to law enforcement continues to be underscored by his expertise as a motorcycle officer, having completed the Yonkers Motorcycle School in 2019. Most recently, he was honored with a life-saving award, highlighting his unwavering dedication to protecting and serving his community. Michael's path from music to law enforcement exemplifies his ability to excel in diverse fields, and he remains deeply committed to making a positive impact in the community that he serves in his role as a police sergeant for the town of Yorktown Police Department. And I will say that that recent life-saving award, Sergeant Veruso shared a pretty poignant story of actually running into the person whose life he did save, doing CPR on that subject. And while the subject didn't recognize you right away, you certainly recognized him. You had a very nice conversation, which again, that's something you just can't put a price on. Very few of us get the opportunity to save somebody's life, and Sergeant Veruso did it. And more recently, Sergeant Veruso and another Yorktown police officer, there's a family in the community that was having a hardship, a subject living at home, battling, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's type issue, health challenge. And Mike and another officer went to that house after their midnight tour, working 8 hours, and put together a bed that took them about 3 or 4 hours for this subject to try to improve his quality of life and his loved one, his significant other's quality of life. So, I'm proud to stand up here and introduce Michael as a sergeant, and I just wanted you all to know a little bit about what our police officers do day after day. And Michael, congratulations. Well done. I'd like to ask the Veruso family to please join Michael on stage. Michael will take the oath from the Honorable Town Clerk, Diana Quast, and pinning his badge on after the oath will be his fiancée, Mara.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Michael Veruso,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
Sergeant in the Yorktown Police Department
Sergeant in the Yorktown Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's easy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mike. Well deserved.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll call you if I ever order those things that I need to build. My husband hates that.
And if you need cello lessons, he's your
Yeah,
huckleberry.
like I'm
few
all about
words
that
from
flow,
Sergeant Veruso.
you know.
My goddaughter's actually playing the cello too.
Really, it's beautiful.
Good evening, everyone. I'd first like to thank the members of the town board, Chief Noble, lieutenants. I'm truly honored by this opportunity and look forward to taking on more responsibility and contributing in a higher capacity. I couldn't have reached this point without the support of my amazing fiancée Mara and my family, who've helped me grow both professionally and personally. I'm very excited to take on this new role and continue working alongside my coworkers who've been great at supporting me achieve this promotion. Thank you again, and I look forward to continue to serving this community.
Detective Sergeant Matthew Rasiopo, please join me up on stage. Detective Sergeant Matthew Rasiopo grew up in Yorktown and graduated from Yorktown High School. After high school, he joined the United States Marine Corps Reserves. He served on active duty status for several years, which included a deployment to Iraq. Upon returning to reserve status, he continued to serve while attending college at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, earning a bachelor's degree in forensic psychology and a master's degree in criminal justice. Detective Sergeant Rasiopo was honorably discharged from the Marine Corps in 2012 and was hired by the Yorktown Police Department a short time later. During his time with the Yorktown Police, he served as a patrol officer and as a patrol supervisor. He has also served in the roles of accident investigator since 2014 and as a drug recognition expert since 2018. Detective Sergeant Rasiopo has two brothers who are also first responders. His brother Kevin is a lieutenant with the State University Police at SUNY Purchase, and his brother Ryan is a firefighter with the City of White Plains Fire Department. Detective Sergeant Rasiopo, again, the drug recognition expert, that's something that very few law enforcement officers, that status is something that very few achieve. And it's a unique and special skill where Matt can recognize signs of impairment through testing and advanced training that typical officers I couldn't recognize, and he serves a great value to the town and the county in being able to assist in taking off dangerous drivers off of our roadways. He has always been passionate about it, and whether it was his time in the service or his time with the Yorktown Police Department, you have another homegrown local police officer with a tireless work ethic, very, very hard worker, very diligent, and that is why he is our Detective Sergeant right now in the Yorktown Police Department. So if I get a nice round of applause for Detective Sergeant Matthew Rasiopo. At this time, I'd ask the Rasiopo family to please join us up on stage, where Detective Sergeant Rasiopo's wife, Rebecca, will be pinning him after he takes the oath.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Matthew Rasiopo,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
Detective Sergeant in the Yorktown Police Department
Detective Sergeant in the Yorktown Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
So
ability.
help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thanks for your good work.
Congratulations, my man.
Good to see you.
Now, a few words from Detective Sergeant Rasiopo.
You need a pen? Do you have a white pen?
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I appreciate the support. It's always good to see the community we serve come out to support us for a night like this. Thank you to the chief, the town board, lieutenants, the other members of the department, and thank you for my parents and my loving wife, Rebecca. I put her through a lot doing this job, but she's always there for me, and I owe her so much. Words aren't enough, but I appreciate you. And really excited to serve the community in this new position. It's been a great career so far, and I'm very motivated to take on new responsibility. Thank you very much.
could ask Lieutenant Sam Sansone to please join me up on stage. Lieutenant Samuel Sansone was born and raised in Yonkers, New York. He attended Salesian High School in New Rochelle, and during his senior year moved to Yorktown with his parents and brother, who is a retired New York State Trooper. After graduating high school, Lieutenant Sansone attended Sacred Heart University and Pace University. In July of 2004, Lieutenant Sansone was hired by the NYPD. Upon graduating from the police academy, he worked in the 4-6 precinct until June of 2006, when he was hired by the Yorktown Police Department. Upon successful completion of his field training, he was assigned to the Patrol Division. During his time in the Patrol Division, Lieutenant Sansone worked as both a patrol officer and a desk officer. In 2019, he was promoted to the rank of sergeant and was assigned to oversee a patrol squad, working primarily in the Midnight Squad and then the traffic unit. In June of 2024, Lieutenant Sansone was reassigned to the Detective Division as Detective Sergeant. In January of 2025, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant and was assigned as the Professional Services and Standards Division Commander. He is tasked with overseeing the department's implementation of the body-worn camera program. He also oversees the School Resource Officer program and manages our in-service departmental training. During his time at the Yorktown Police Department, Lieutenant Sansone has been a certified general topics instructor, a defensive tactics instructor, taser instructor, a member of the peer support team. He is crisis intervention team trained, and he manages the procurement of new ballistic vests for every officer in the department. He also recently served 2 years as the Yorktown Police Department Police Benevolent Association president. He is a member of the Westchester County Police Emerald Society, as well as the New York State Fraternal Order of Police Lodge No. 9. In 2012, Lieutenant Sansone joined the Police Unity Tour, Chapter 37, where he raised funds for the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial through a 300-mile bike ride from Ground Zero to Washington, D.C. After participating in this for numerous years, he and several other Yorktown officers formed Team Yorktown, and as a team, they were able to raise well over $20,000 in a single year to be donated. Team Yorktown now rides with Honor 37, the New York Division of Law Enforcement United Bike Ride, where Lieutenant Sansone also serves as a trustee. He's also the Yorktown Police Department's team captain. And again, well-deserved promotion to lieutenant. What Lieutenant Sansone didn't mention in this bio is that he scored a 102 on the lieutenant's exam in Westchester County, which ranked him number 1 in Westchester County. He has worked diligently for us in the Yorktown Police Department, and his leadership demonstrated as the PBA president. He worked very well with the administration and represented his brothers and sisters in the association with a high degree of competency. The tasks and responsibilities that he now has, he's going to fly right through them like he has with everything else. He'll excel in these programs, and that he's a local guy, again, is just a wonderful, wonderful thing for the town of Yorktown. A nice round of applause for Lieutenant Sansone. If I could get the Sansone family to please come on up on stage.
Oh,
Even you, little Sammy.
He's so cute.
Your dad did the same thing when he got put on Midnights. You will now take the oath from Town Clerk Diana
Hi,
Quas.
Nugget. Hi, Dylan. Hi, Nugget. Hi. Look here. He's so cute.
I, Samuel Sansone,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
Lieutenant in the Yorktown Police Department
Lieutenant in the Yorktown Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Pinning his badge will be Lieutenant Sansone's wife, Jen.
He's so cute.
right.
Hey, the daddy.
Then you forgot to give
Look
your,
how big you're getting. Thank you.
she forgot to give you your binky.
Yeah.
Big Tig says congratulations.
Yes.
Salesian? Really? I went to Mount, man. We're rivals.
And a few words from Lieutenant Sansone.
Thank you.
I'll make this quick because my little guy's getting antsy over here, as everybody can see. Town board, chief, the rest of the administration, thank you guys for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. To all my friends in the PBA, thank you for coming out and supporting all of us tonight. My family, thank you so much for being here for me. My brother, you weren't here when I got promoted to sergeant, and I'm thankful that you're here tonight. But it's not easy. All the hours, the missed family events, but I appreciate you guys putting up with that for all these years, and I'm excited for this next chapter of my career. Thank you, Chief.
At this time, I'd ask Lieutenant Mark Rapisarda, please join up on stage.
Heart.
Lieutenant Mark Rapisarda graduated from Mayapack High School and went on to earn a bachelor's degree in political science from Fordham University. He has over 26 years of police service, starting his career in 1998 with the City of New York Police Department, the NYPD, where he was assigned to the 4-9 precinct in the Bronx, serving in the patrol division, the conditions unit, and the razor detail. In 2004, Mark transferred to the City of Poughkeepsie Police Department, where he worked as an undercover narcotics officer in the Neighborhood Recovery Unit, investigating drug-related and vice-related crimes, and was later assigned to patrol. In 2005, Mark transferred to the Yorktown Police Department. Mark served in various capacities since transferring to the Yorktown Police Department. He was assigned to patrol duties and became a field training officer, training and mentoring new officers to the department. Mark was later assigned as the Special Conditions Street Crime Officer with the Northern Westchester County Drug Task Force, investigating drug-related issues within the community while also working with other departments throughout Westchester County, as well as federal agencies. As a Special Conditions Officer, Mark was responsible for dozens of arrests. He was later assigned as a liaison to the Westchester County Real-Time Crime Center, where he utilized advanced technologies to enhance investigative efforts and the sharing of information with all participating agencies in Westchester County to solve crimes. In 2015, Mark was promoted to the rank of sergeant, supervising a patrol squad. He would also be assigned to supervise the Field Training Officer Program and the department's Crime Initiative Officer. In 2019, Sergeant Rapisarda was reassigned as the Detective Sergeant, supervising the day-to-day operations of all detectives, juvenile officers, and plainclothes initiative operations. During his time in the Yorktown Police Department, he has also served as the Yorktown Police Department Police Benevolent Association Vice President and served on several PBA committees. In June 2024, Mark was promoted to lieutenant as the Professional Services and Standards Lieutenant. In his position, he was tasked with coordinating the arrival and setup of the department's new body-worn camera program, as well as supervising school resource officers and the in-service training for the department. As of January 2025, Mark has been reassigned as the Patrol Division Commander, where he currently oversees the day-to-day operations of the Patrol Division. During Lieutenant Rapisarda's time in the Yorktown Police Department, he has earned 3 Meritorious Police Duty Awards, 7 Excellent Police Duty Awards, and a Westchester County Category 2 Commendable Merit Award. Mark remains dedicated to serving the Yorktown community, having family that both live in the town and own a business in this town. And if the bio didn't do enough service to Lieutenant Rapisarda's service with the community, again, a work ethic second to none, multiple positions served within the Yorktown Police Department. As the plainclothes officer, he did an excellent job out on the street dealing with the worst of the worst in every community in Westchester, including Yorktown when they came up this way. But there's nothing that Lieutenant Rapisarda hasn't faced in his career and excelled. He's proud to do the job, proud to be a Yorktown police officer, and he is an excellent representative of this police agency, and very, very happy to be able to promote him to the rank of lieutenant. How about a nice round of applause for Lieutenant Mark Rapisaro? If I could have the Rapisarda family please join us up on stage. Mark's wife Angie will pin him after he takes the oath from Town Clerk Diana Quast.
Mark, that was my precinct when I was at St. Catherine's, but I was still in high school. Till 99.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mark Rapisarda,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
Lieutenant in the Yorktown Police Department
Lieutenant in the Yorktown Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
So help
ability.
me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Great job, Mark.
A few words from Lieutenant Rapisarda.
I want to thank the chief, the town board, my fellow lieutenants, all the officers I work with for their support. I have to thank my mom. She was there for me, raised me into the person I am today. That's why I'm here. My wife, when she first found out we were engaged, she found out I was going to the police academy. One of the first things she said to me was, "I don't want to be married to a cop." Here we are 26 years later, still together, always supported me through all the job changes, tour changes, nights, weekends. It was tough. And we raised a family, 3 beautiful boys. I look forward to serving the community in my new role. Thank you very much.
All right, that takes care of all our promotions and announcements. I do have a couple things that I will add. I want to share with the community, and I know I shared with you in early January, our 2024 use of force report, because I truly do think it's exemplary, and it just speaks to the work that the men and women who you see ringing this wall and the back of this room here, just the outstanding work that they do in the community. And, the word de-escalation is thrown around quite a bit, but I'm just so proud of the men and women of this police department that they basically use non-escalation out there. With the incidents of use of force, we had one injury, and that was the cuffs were too tight. So we had to take that person to get checked out because of tight handcuffs, but no lasting injury. All the times we have to go hands-on, taser use, it's all tracked and it's all monitored. And, before these officers ever do go hands-on, man, they do their best not to. They really do. And, you see these videos and you see use of force incidents on television, and I'm here to tell you that, you know what, no matter what you see, it's never going to be pretty. I mean, you got to go hands-on, you got to fight with somebody. It's not a pretty thing to be in, it's not a pretty thing to watch. But I want you all to know that the data is right here, that your police department is out there treating people in a fine manner. And the last thing that they want to do is have to use force. They do an incredible, incredible job. So, just the physical, zero deadly physical force, no personnel complaints, zero from the public based upon use of force incidents by the men and women of the Yorktown Police Department. You can clap, please. We all listened, and I was amazed at how many businesses and how many people are moving to Yorktown. You got all these developments, coming in, and businesses coming in, and and you all support us. I mean, this town board is phenomenal to work with, but I'll be damned. They're coming to town because of this police department as well. They do a fine job out there, safe town, year after year, and you guys don't get too many complaints. You really don't. And that's you know, I can't, you give me an opportunity to talk well about them. We'll be up here next month with our awards ceremony where I'll share some of the excellent police work that the men and women of the Yorktown Police Department do. But again, when they hit the street, and that's the thing you see on TV too, you just never know what you're going to run into. There's a lot of angry people out there. You know, we are a divided country for the most part. There's just a lot of rhetoric that people buy into and a lot of angry people we run into. But, you know, this town is a unicorn. I mean, we get a lot of things right. A lot of people rally and come together for causes, no matter what your political beliefs are. But, you know, I will tell you what, you have to support your police department. And I said, this town board does. You always have. You know, Ed, you've been with us since what, 2014, 15?
16 in office. But
all right.
15
You're an
started.
honest politician. Jesus, I tried to give you an extra couple of years.
That's all right.
But, you know.
I still have some hair left, so I know I'm not there yet.
Well, don't go near the hair stuff, right? Because then I take off this hat. But, you know, in all honesty, you really need that. You need that if you're going to live in a town that really gets it and can move forward. And there's a lot of good things, as we said, that are happening in this town. And your police department, they're the backbone of this community. And that's why a lot of good things happen. So if I can get a round of applause for the men and women of the Yorktown Police Department that are here tonight. And I also want another round of applause for the Yorktown Police Department Color Guard. Weren't they were outstanding. When we first brought that back, we, you know, we had, you know, Officer Angel Garcia, who's retired, and Sergeant Michael Tillestrand. They were the leaders, you know, of the Color Guard. And I'll tell you what, somebody else who really stepped up and coordinates them in an excellent manner and is a member of the Guard is Lieutenant Justin Foley, who stands right here on the wall. He does a great job with them. And as you heard with the announcements of the promotions, we've had some reshuffling at the Yorktown Police Department. And Lieutenant Foley was the Patrol Division Commander since he was promoted several years ago, and now he is running the Detective Division. So making way for Lieutenant Rapisardo, who's running patrols, and Lieutenant Sansone, who's going to get those body-worn cameras out, and also, I tell you what, is tasked with the School Resource Officer Program. Another thing this town gets right by having police officers in these schools, letting children build relationships with the fine men and women of this police department. And, you know, Lieutenant Sansone will be tasked with running that program, which is, you know, if there's a better SRO program in New York State, you need to show it to me. Because
There isn't.
There we go. They do an
Lewisboro
excellent
is
job.
actually using ours to push for theirs at their board meetings.
Is Lewisboro in New York?
Yeah, John Jay.
No, I know that. All right. So again, just an outstanding job. And another thing that we're working on, we're going to Friday we're announcing it's every March 16th in the town of Yorktown is Captain Kenneth Scroy Act of Kindness Day in memory of our fallen brother Kenny, Captain Scroy. You all were kind enough to make March 16th an Act of Kindness Day. That falls on a Sunday, so on March 13th we will be donating. We're going to raise funds for two charities. We do it in-house with our No Shave effort in February and March. But the two charities that we've selected locally are United for the Troops, once again, who do so much for the men and women of our United States military that are serving abroad, and also the Alliance for Safe Kids, who just really go out of their way to help kids make good decisions and help the parents of children who really, it's tough. I got to tell you, I'm glad I have adult children at this point, because the challenges on social media and a lot of the things that the kids face these days, it's quite a bit. And I'm glad our SROs can help, but the Alliance for Safe Kids truly is a member of this community that is invaluable. So we're happy to raise funds for them as well. We'll have an announcement Friday at the police department at 11 a.m. Jim Raschmidt and Liz Talbert will be joining us at headquarters to kick off the campaign. So again, if anybody wants to donate, we'll have information on our Facebook page, and you can donate directly in Captain Kenneth Scroy's name, or you can come to the police department and drop off. We'll have the collection bins for United for the Troops, and we'll know what gift cards or any type of funding that Alliance for Safe Kids is looking for, and we'll share that with the community. So I thank you in advance for your support with that. And lastly, you know, you mentioned Alice Roker earlier tonight, and you know, Alice has always been, you know, a friend to the Yorktown Police Department, and I've worked with Alice, for many years. And one of the things that Alice made happen, actually helped me make it happen, but she made it happen because she had the political connections for this. We needed a mobile health crisis team in Westchester County, and that's something that I championed and something that Alice was very, very receptive of. And you know what, Ed, you heard it. You were on the board at the time, and so was the late, Tom Diana, who heard that as well. But Alice had the connections to make that happen globally outside of Yorktown, and all I had to do was feed her the information, and she got it to the right people. And Alice should be very proud because she was the impetus and the driving force as to why we have a mobile health crisis team here in Westchester County. And it's of tremendous benefit to us out on the street. Because you know what, sometimes when somebody's having a mental health crisis, or when they are, they have challenges that they don't want to see a uniform. And, we do a great job of being jack of all trades as cops. We really do. But to have people that are specially trained in the mental health and have them come out, they've already diffused multiple standoffs that could have been tricky. And they help my men and women every day to allow them to go home safe to their families. And you know what? Alice was at the forefront of that. And I think, I wanted to recognize that tonight. Well, I don't know if she's watching this or if somebody can relay it to her, but, she helped our police department. She helped this community, and it was something that was sorely needed. So, Alice, if you're watching, thank you. And for those of us like Lieutenant Graham, who go way back in this town, we've known Alice for a long time, and we've called her a friend for a long time. And she'll always be a friend. She'll always be respected and loved by the Yorktown Police Department. So I didn't want to leave tonight without saying that to everybody. And thank you to the families, to the community tonight that came out. Most importantly, thank you to the men and women of the Yorktown Police Department that you see in the back that are here on their own time. The new PBA president, Tim Curtin's back there. He's here supporting the men and women here at the Yorktown Police Department. And Mike Petronello, have you missed a swearing in? Maybe one, but I tell you what, he's when'd you get on, 91? 91. All right, he's one of us early 90 guys, but I tell you what, he could stay home and not have to come out here, but he always comes out and supports, and that's why I always see him in the back of the room. So, Mikey boy, thanks for coming out. Keep up the great work over there at Ben Frank.
I hear he's a really good pickleball player.
Oh, listen, he's a hustler. Wait till you get that pickleball thing started.
Yeah, I heard.
People will be complaining he's taking their money in Yorktown. All right, everybody, thank you very much. Have a safe night. Thank you for your support.
It's usually freezing in here.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. Aguri.
I feel like a slacker at the black belt.
Oh.
Oh, just get out of here.
We have another presentation. I'll do Robert as soon as we get to the personnel. I'll run him first.
No, I meant.
All right, we'll give everyone a moment to clear, but we have another presentation. Kelly Griffiths with her Eagle Scout presentation. Kelly, if you want to take the podium. How are you?
Kelly.
Kelly, why don't you use this one over here?
There's two. Do they? Yeah, you can move it, sweetheart. We'll wait till it cools
So while everyone clears out, I just want to just say, if you haven't visited the museum and met Amy, our new curator, under the direction of our clerk's office with Diana, help from her other staffers, Anna in particular. Our museum has been unbelievable lately. There are a lot of great things there. And Kelly actually just added a really, really fantastic piece for everyone. So I think we might be able to get started.
All right. Hi, I'm Kelly, and I'm presenting today about my Eagle Scout project, which was at the Yorktown Museum. It was an audio tour. All right, so this project, it was, just like the rest of the slide is.
Which one do you want to go to? The
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing?
fine. Thank you. Sorry. My Eagle Scout project was a self-guided audio tour of the Yorktown Museum. So this was based on QR codes. So right now, as it is, you scan. It's like on displays, and then it leads to an audio tour. And this describes each room of the museum and gives the information in a more accessible and interactive manner. So this project started, I had to research a lot of the history in these rooms to develop scripts, and then I had people record them. And then the next step was that I built physical stands for signage, and this involved Last Scouts from my troop. And then I have pictures here of how they turned out. They were about 3 feet tall, and they had QR code displays so you could scan on your phone. And now, currently, they're in each room of the museum, and as you visit the museum, you can enjoy the audio tour. So this has several benefits. The first one in my mind when I started the project was accessibility, because now it's in a physical, written format and an audio format. Everybody can enjoy the museum regardless of ability or different needs. But then another advantage that we came across was we made a children's tour, and this came later in the project, where we did the same thing but with a separate QR code that puts it in more simple children's terms.
Oh, that's great.
It's okay. So that it can be generational, intergenerationally, people can enjoy it. And just to talk about my troop for a little bit, I belong to the first fully co-ed troop in our region. It's called Troop 164, and it's among the first in the United States to be fully co-ed. And so this project was the first to be completed in this co-ed troop, and as a part of the children's tour, I had scouts from my troop read the tour. So the voices of male and female scouts are kind of immortalized in this project, and I think that that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank for this project Amy Swan and Town Clerk Diana Quast. They helped me so much throughout this project, and I couldn't have done it without them. And also the people who volunteered their time to record: Trish Rothberg, Linda Keeterer, John Tegeter, Nicole Fervon, and Christopher D. Pasquale. These people, their voices are in this project. And the amazing scouts and adult leaders of Troop 164. They volunteered their time. They helped me build my stands. They made this whole thing possible. And again, some of their voices are immortalized in this project. Thank you so much to everybody here and to the whole town of Yorktown.
That's amazing, Kelly.
I just want to say that, the choice for you to come work and do your Eagle Scout project at the museum was, it's a fantastic thing. And if you don't come to our museum and see it, you're going to miss out on a lot. But the pleasure was ours, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Amy?
Oh, stop.
I want to say thank you so much for choosing the museum for your project. I'm so ever grateful. And I love that you brought in so many new people, so many young people, which the museum really needed. And it introduced the world of Yorktown to the museum. And I'm grateful for that. So thank you so much.
It was such
Kelly, don't go far, Kelly.
Yeah, stay.
Just stand up there a second. Well, no, you know what? I don't have any questions, and we do have even though you have not officially had your Court of Honor, you have finished your Eagle Scout project, and that says a lot. Sergio is going to read a proclamation for you, but I just want to say, the fact that you were able to put this together with so many different moving pieces, just is an attribute to the leadership that you show. I'm sure at times it felt like you were herding kittens around, trying to get everyone to get their stuff done. But wow, what a great project. I was listening to the tour and very, very impressed.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, you did a phenomenal job on your presentation. And I haven't been to the museum in about, I don't know, say 10, 15 years. And Diana, what you and Amy have done over there, it's incredible. And if anybody's out there, if you need to bring their kids there, you'll really enjoy and you get a better understanding of what the town is.
And that, for the microphone, that was find us on Facebook and make sure you like them.
Thumbs
Yeah,
up.
I do. I want to just applaud you. I mean, you're a leader. There's so much out there in information. You know, I work with generational trauma, and I work with a lot of like neurodivergence and ableism, and how that doesn't play such a large part in accessibility. And you found a way to just bring it to like humanity, where it wasn't this place of like, go here for these resources. It was like, no, everything's included. And I just think that was so magical, and I think it was so brilliant for you to do it. And I think what you just taught me was, like, maybe the learning isn't in all the courses, but it's in listening to our youth. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Congratulations.
No, hold on. Sergio's going to read your proclamation.
I got to tell you, it's particularly an honor for me. Your eldest brother and my kids were friends when we first came to Yorktown, and your parents were very welcoming. And so this is particularly a pleasure for me. It's a proclamation recognizing Eagle Scout Kelly Griffiths. Whereas it is fit and proper to recognize the achievement of those individuals who substantially contribute to the validity of our community and the entire town of Yorktown. And whereas it takes years of dedication and commitment to achieve Eagle rank. And whereas Kelly's Eagle Scout project was to create a narration project using QR codes next to displays at the Yorktown Museum. Her project consists of an adult and children narration of each of the museum's 5 exhibit rooms. These audio tours have made it possible to experience history in a new, interactive way. And whereas Kelly Griffiths serves as an example to the youth of our community through her high level of personal achievement, love of history, and has made the town of Yorktown very proud of her accomplishments. And whereas Kelly Griffiths worked with town clerk Diana L. Quast and assistant curator Amy Swan to make exhibits in the Yorktown Museum more accessible to all by focusing on accessibility aspects that are crucial to create inclusive spaces that everyone can enjoy, regardless of their abilities. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the town supervisor and the town board of the town of Yorktown congratulate and recognize Kelly Griffiths for completing all the requirements necessary to become an Eagle Scout. We are proud to have her as a member of our community. So congratulations, and
great work.
I'll reiterate my point from before. Be proud of yourself the most. Be proud of yourself.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Kelly, you did a great job.
Let's give her a round of applause.
I love the fact that my 9-year-old will understand it. Like, that's brilliant.
All right, Susan, I think you have the next proclamation.
This is a proclamation on this 4th day of February 2025, whereas Black History Month affords a special opportunity to become more knowledgeable about Black heritage and to honor the many Black leaders who have contributed to the progress of our nation. And whereas such knowledge can strengthen the insight of all our citizens regarding the issues of human rights, the great strides that have been made in the crusade to eliminate the barriers to equality for minority groups and the continuing struggle against racial discrimination and poverty. Whereas we urge our residents to join together in making this period of rededication to the principles of justice and equality for all people. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Edward A. Lachterman, along with the town board of the town of Yorktown, hereby proclaim February 2025 as Black History Month in the town of Yorktown, and I urge all residents to celebrate and observe this month with appropriate ceremonies and activities.
Thank you, Susan.
May I have it? I'd like to bring it to Alice Roker
Yeah.
tomorrow. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna
And if there's any organization or group that needs a copy, please contact my office if anyone's displaying anything.
I'm going to read this next one. in recognition of Heart Health Month. The number one cause of death in the United States is heart disease, including coronary heart disease, hypertension, and stroke. And whereas, according to CDC, over 800,000 individuals in the United States have a heart attack, and 1 in 5 heart attacks is silent. And whereas the main symptoms of a heart attack are chest pains or discomfort, feeling lightheaded, discomfort in your jaw, neck, or back, shortness of breath, discomfort in your arms and shoulders, and whereas manageable risks factors for heart disease include high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, secondhand smoke exposure, tobacco use, physical inactivity, poor nutrition, and obesity. Risk factors that are out of your control include age, gender, family health history, and race. And whereas to protect yourself from cardiovascular disease, you should be physically active, do not smoke or use tobacco, eat a healthy diet, maintain healthy weight, manage stress. Wow, these sound so easy. Have your doctor regularly check your blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and conduct diabetes screenings. I hope we're all doing the best we can. Whereas keeping our residents healthy and promoting awareness of the important health issues, including heart disease, is an important responsibility in our community. And during Heart Health Month, we raise awareness of the risks of heart disease and stroke, remembering those we have lost, and educate the public on the steps that they could take to save lives. And now, therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of Ed A. Lackerman, Supervisor of the Town of Yorktown, along with the town board members, do hereby recognize that the month of February also be, February 225, also be known as the Heart Health Month, and February 7th, 2025 is National Wear Red Day to raise awareness for heart disease and encourage all citizens to participate to preventative health screenings.
Okay, thank you, Lou. All right, and this next one, I had wanted Diana to read, but she asked me to read it, and I'm honored because, as I always used to joke with Alice, she signed my marriage license, and I was the last person that she swore into office, and I never held either one against her. That being said,
and she did it with humor, I'm sure.
This is the official naming of the Archive and Records Center's building. Whereas the Honorable Alice E. Roker served as an elected official of the town of Yorktown for over 30 years, and whereas during her 30 years of service, Alice E. Roker served as the town supervisor, town councilwoman, town clerk, and current town historian. She has also served on many committees and community boards, and whereas Alice E. Roker played an instrumental role in some of the town's major accomplishments, such as obtaining grants to build the Archivals and Records Center for the town of Yorktown, and whereas throughout her public service career, Alice E. Roker has continuously supported her community with outstanding dedication and professionalism. Alice is always willing to help and provide invaluable knowledge, experience, and compassion. And whereas the naming of the Archives and Records Center is an appropriate recognition for such a dignified person, and whereas the town clerk of the town of Yorktown wishes to recognize Alice E. Roker for her dedicated service to the town, its residents, and her community, now therefore be it resolved that upon the recommendation of Town Clerk Diana L. Quast, that I, Edward A. Lachterman, along with the Town Board of the Town of Yorktown, hereby name the Archives and Records Center in honor of Alice E. Roker to be known as the Alice E. Roker Archives and Records Center, and be it further resolved that an appropriate ceremony will be held to mark the naming of the Alice E. Roker Archives and Records Center building. Signed on this 4th day of February 2025 by myself and for myself and the entire town board. Congratulations, Alice, on this honor. And I think one of the things that really needs to be said is, with Alice, it wasn't about political party; it was about Yorktown. She has been a good rabbi to many of the people that have sat in this seat. including, I know, our Assemblyman, Matt Slater, myself, Tom Diana. She's been inspirational to a lot of us, and God bless her. Thank you.
When I started my practice, I remember coming to one of the town board meetings because I needed to speak on behalf of bringing in the dispensaries, and I had told her what I was doing, and I remember her sitting here, and she looked at me and said, "You're going to do great things," and I'll never forget that. So I can't wait to tell her tomorrow that I'm grateful for her. All the great things.
We were talking about, I was on the chamber, I was president of the chamber, and we were talking about doing some stuff with Yorktown, and she said to me, she goes, she's talking to me, she goes, "Sergio, you can't be the voice of Yorktown. You're too nasally."
You're too nasally. You are a little nasally.
I guess. I've never realized it.
Always a
She told
producer.
me. She's a sweetheart.
Okay. So we're going to move on. There are a couple, we're going to move to personnel. There are a couple of personnel resolutions that did not make it onto the agenda. We apologize about that, but a few things came in late. We are, first, I have Robert, you're here. I thank you for coming back. I know it came. Why don't you stand up at the podium over here real quick? Because I'm going to ask you to just say a couple of words. But let me read the resolution and get a vote first. Appoint Robert Biaggi as a member of the Heritage Preservation Commission. Be it resolved that Robert Biaggi is appointed as a member of the Heritage Preservation Commission for a term expiring on October 31st, 2028. May I have a motion?
I make a motion for Robert Biaggi.
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye. I
Thank you.
voted.
All right. Rob, tell us a quick little thing about yourself.
That's a good.
Town Council. Yes, I'm a lifelong resident of Yorktown, grew up here, school's here, my family's here, my kids go to school here, and I'm an avid fan of Revolutionary War and 1700s history and the rich history that Yorktown has in that regard and even in the other centuries. So happy to donate and volunteer my time for the Heritage Preservation Commission and all that it stands for, and to assist in any way, and I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Robert, stepping
We
up.
look forward to working with you.
Yep, welcome aboard, Rob. All right, also on there, well, we'll take this one next. We were discussing a personnel in our closed session, and a new program that the clerk's office is trying to start in the library with everything. A museum, thank you. I always do that. I don't know.
Well, it is a bit of a library. There's a lot of news in there.
There are a lot of books too. At the museum, working with challenged youth and overcoming disabilities and having some great tutelage, which we've already been doing but want to expand in there. Both Diana and I have a passion for this, so she spoke to the town board earlier, and a decision has been made. This is to authorize an increase in part-time intermediate clerk Anna Marie Mandara's hours from 24 to 30 hours per week in the town clerk's office, which also, of course, runs a museum. And Anna will bounce between her responsibilities. And this is, be it resolved that part-time intermediate clerk Anna Marie Mandara's hours will be increased from 24 hours per week to 30 hours per week in the town clerk's office beginning on February 10th, 2025, and be it further resolved that Anna Marie Mandara will accrue prorated vacation, sick days, personal days, and floating holidays to follow the CSEA agreement. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Anna.
Do you want to?
Congratulations, Anna. Thank you.
Did you mention the county program?
That would be Diana. Do you want to mention the county program that you
Yeah,
want to
just
work with on the?
It's a good program. I think people should hear about.
Yeah.
Aye.
We're going to be working with we already do work with them, and it's Beyond Ability, and they're going to be working this program with us as a program for children with disabilities, with internships with children with disabilities, to bring them into the museum and give them life skills, and that's what we're going to be moving towards.
Yeah.
But that's part of one of the reasons why we're increasing Anna's hours a little bit. So
And
she's
many
going to be
commu-
working in conjunction with that.
Many communities are doing this program, including the Westchester County Clerk's Office.
Very good.
Thank you, Diana.
Okay, now, be it resolved that David T. Nickershire is hereby appointed to Motor Equipment Operator, Job Class Code 0427-02, within the Water Department, effective February 10th, 2025, to be paid from Yorktown CSEA Salary Schedule A, Group 10, Step 1, which is $60,000, $60,495 per year, with benefits such as sick days, personal days, and floating holidays to follow the CSEA agreement. And be it further resolved that this appointment is subject to a probationary period of no more than 12 weeks, commencing on the first date of appointment on February 10th, 2025. Motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Passes. The other two will read in, that's actually not really personnel. So let's get this. Accept the resignation received from Helen Lynch as intermediate clerk in the Yorktown Museum. Accept the resignation received from Fred Amorosa as motor equipment operator for the Yorktown Highway Department. And accept the retirement received from Michael Carducci as sewer maintenance foreman for the Yorktown Sewer Department. I was Helen is effective January 28th, 2025. Fred is January 31st, 2025. And Mike will be retiring on March 24th, 2025. We thank all of you for your service and wish you luck on your future endeavors. Can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. Best luck.
Great. All right. We have some discussion for the battery energy storage system. So everyone knows we have a moratorium on large-scale battery storage systems in the town of Yorktown. We do have two types. We have a type 1, which is a small scale, like a Tesla wall in your house. And we have the type 2, which are larger, up to really they go up over 600 megawatts or kilowatt hours. Yeah, and there are a lot of issues right now in the safety and the fire control on these different battery storage systems. So the town has looked at what we would like to do in the meantime on trying to figure out for the safety, and until we know how things can be controlled better, do we want to limit and or eliminate phase 2 from our law? And Adam, I think that you prepared.
Yeah, we drafted, and I worked with the planning department to draft the revision to the local law, which ultimately would, if it were to go forward as it stands, it would eliminate the law and put it in a different section, just because right now it's under the special permit section because you need a special permit for tier 2 storage systems. But the revisions would eliminate tier 2 systems altogether in town, and also change the threshold from a tier 1 to a tier 2, right? So now tier 1 systems would be 80 kilowatt hours or below, or excuse me, no.
Max, yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Let me just, I don't want to misspeak. I think it's below 80 would be a tier 1. If it's 80, I think it would constitute a tier 2. Let me just confirm that. 1 second.
I think the text read.
Yes, less than or equal. So
Less than
tier
or
1 would be
equal to,
less than or
yes.
equal to 80 kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
So anything over
80 or below.
anything over 80 would constitute a tier 2 battery energy storage system, which would be outlawed everywhere in town. And we had to sharpen up some approval procedures, but the proposed local law does that.
And then there'd be no change to the process of getting a Tier 1, which is a building permit, which includes all the appropriate inspections by the building department and the electrical inspector, correct?
Correct, and you know the building department can put whatever conditions it wants on the permit, you know, reasonable conditions.
Right. And I know Susan had asked a question that I had already researched, which was how many of these Tier 1s have we been looking at? And since January of 2023, we have had 3 of them come to town. So it's not a big thing on the Tier 1, but I think those are going to be a little more popular with the Tesla walls and the things that are coming, and so there's really little to no change in that except to move it everything out of the special use permit section.
So just to make it simple, Tier 1 is like for your home, right? You're gonna have solar panels on your roof, and you're gonna have battery storage at your home. That's Tier 1. Everything else would be, more larger and commercial, and there are some issues with those larger things.
Susan, you had some questions?
Yeah, I think we got this kind of mid-afternoon, so I don't know how many other people have had time to look at everything. I have absolutely no problem with banning the large scale, the Tier 2s. I have some issues with the text as it is. I think some of it has carried over from when we had Tier 1 and Tier 2, and they were obviously, most of the provisions dealt with the Tier 2, which we're not going to have. I think this law can be simplified to basically say we allow storage systems up to 80 kilowatts an hour, okay? And then there are some specific provisions like it's 40 kilowatts if it's in a closet, and it's 80 kilowatts if it's someplace else. And then eliminate a lot of the other stuff which was carried over from the old law, but which I don't think is relevant. For example, one says under a section, permit time frame and abandonment. The approval for a battery storage system shall be valid for a period of 12 months, provided that a building permit is issued for construction and construction is commenced. I think that dealt with when it was a special permit. There's another one in the definitions. There's non-participating property, non-participating residence. There's issues about to mitigate the impacts of battery storage systems on environmental resources such as important agricultural lands, forests, wildlife. I don't think those are appropriate. I think we just have to do, another one is all battery storage energy systems must undergo regular inspections at intervals specified in the plans and documents approved under this section. I just think too much was just carried over automatically from Tier 2 that could be eliminated and simplified. Also, I think what we have to do is say, since I hate to call it Tier 1 because there's no sense in calling it a Tier 1 if we don't have Tiers 1 and other tiers. It's just we're allowing battery storage up to 80 kilowatts, period, in all districts, and then there's special requirements for residential. But the model law also talks about getting a special battery storage permit. And I looked at the requirements, our building permit application, which is like this, and this is and it doesn't ask some of the questions that the model battery storage facility would require. For example, the capacity rating, the power rating. I don't know how relevant this is, AC coupled, DC coupled, standalone. But specifically, it talks about the type of battery, whether it's a lithium ion, lead acid, nickel cadmium, and so forth. So I think that we should possibly have either add a separate section onto the existing building permit application or have a separate building permit for these things. Now, I know they're minor, and we only have like 3 or something, but it is something that's possibly likely to increase, especially as more people go to electric vehicles, and they might have it. So I just think that before we refer this out, I'd like my colleagues on the board to take another look at it with the town attorney and maybe simplify the language to make it clearer.
So part of the referral process, though, Susan, is letting the other departments look at that as well and come up with this. So I did pass on your comments to John Landy about the permit. He said he'll look at it.
This is the first time I'm making a permit.
You did make the comment this afternoon in your email.
Oh, all right.
You made the comment and you said that you actually pointed to the NYSERDA regulations on it, which is ironic because I was watching NYSERDA was up in Albany, and they were being questioned on a bunch of things, and actually Assemblyman Slater was talking about the safety and the regulations on the Tier 2, and the Tier 2. They basically said, well, we're responsible for, well, we're in control of it, but we're not responsible for it, and they walked away from it. And it was kind of depressing to see, it's one of those, like, who's in charge, and it was like, they are. Anyone but us at NYSERDA. And, I believe it was on his Assemblyman page. It might be worth watching, because that whole process was... there are a lot of people that are a little disappointed in the regulations coming from NYSERDA. But I would hesitate to take away any tier ratings, because we did speak when we were talking about the fact that if the safety and all of the different fire protection systems increase, and there's a move away from lithium ion towards lithium phosphate, we should probably reconsider this law. I don't want to sunset it. I know we spoke about that in the last meeting, but we will need to reconsider it. I would hesitate to take away the different tier structures.
Well, I wasn't suggesting taking away any of the safety requirements which are laid out in the
No, but you said take away the tier structures. I would
well,
not call
it's not
The tier ratings, I think you said.
the tier ratings.
Yeah.
We don't have to, if we say we're only allowing these for up to 80 kilowatt hours, okay? That just says what it is.
Yeah, but we're talking about, like, potentially in the future, if we move to lithium phosphate, then
it might not be our town board, but someone's going to make that decision.
Correct. And the distinctions will be there already. And so I had
Then you're
time.
going to
I
have to
had-
change it
so-
and put it back in the special permit section, which you're taking out of the special permit, and you're putting it in the section which I don't think anyone's going to find. The 381 is like, if you looked at, which I looked at 381, where this is going now, A through H are very general about lot size, setbacks, minimum, with nothing about usage. And then in 2009, they tacked on wood-burning stoves. I remember that discussion very well. And it's there with all of the specifics regulating the use, which this law regulates the use. So I don't know. Yes, it's not a special permit, so it doesn't go into the one section, but does it go here? I'm not going to argue that
So
one.
Susan, what I'd love to see is for planning, zoning, building to weigh in on this. And actually, the county now has asked us to send stuff as well, as they're looking at a battery storage law through the county legislators. So
Ed, I read through the law. I had plenty of time to read through the law. And honestly, other than small minor tweaks, I don't think there's really anything wrong with it. I think it does a thorough job. I wouldn't oversimplify it. I think we should refer this out. We've been talking about this for quite some time. We want to get some things off our plates. This is a well-written, it's a good law right now the way it stands. And it accomplishes exactly what we're trying to do. Let's refer it out. Let's get some comments back. We could always amend it. We could always change it. But at this point, if we're going to delay it another couple of weeks, and then we're going to delay it again, and then we're going to go past the moratorium, then we're going to have to renew the moratorium. Just, it's great the way it is. I've read through it thoroughly. Let's get it out there. Let's get some comments back. Let's hear what our boards need to say. Let's hear what the county wants to say about it, and then let's reconvene. But I don't think delaying it at this point, which is going to be at least another couple of weeks, has any value. Plus, we have a no meeting on what day do we have?
we don't have a meeting next week due to the special election.
Just so you guys know, just so we announce it. So now you don't have next week. Then you're going to have stuff for the following week that this might not even get on the following week. So now you got 2 weeks. Then you're going to have 3 weeks. Then boom, here we are. We're in March. Let's just refer it out. So when we come back, we have some comments that we could.
Susan, are there any questions you may have for Adam?
No, I fully support the concept of the law.
Yeah, I hear that.
Limiting the use. I just think there are parts of it that just don't apply to battery storage of up to 80 kilowatts an hour, and I would just take that out because it was a copy and paste from the old law, and I think some sections just don't apply, and it just makes
To
it,
the above the 80, you're saying?
that's, yeah,
Yeah, well,
that's my
do you
suggestion.
feel comfortable letting people comment on it? Because I don't think it's just the five of us on this. We have all the departments and the experts, and that's where it should go. I'd like to see our community climate task force look at it. There are quite a few people that have a lot more knowledge than us on a lot of this, because some of these things, like the building permit, all building permits expire after 1 year. Whether it's a commercial or residential, they have to come in for renewals. So a lot of this stuff is just part of our base law, which is based on New York State Building Code. And I'd rather, before we start slashing and burning, let's let our building inspector weigh in.
And from how I'm reading
Well,
it, it might be irrelevant, but I don't find it to be harmful. Like when you're saying it's copy and paste and a bit redundant, like I don't think it's harmful. And I feel like when we refer it out, because sometimes there's this weird shall and may and these one words that like can be heard or read by a department totally different. So maybe that's, it doesn't sound like it's
Also,
I
take
kept reading it. I don't see it's
a
harmful.
look at section D and E. D is called applicability, but it just talks about the requirements of this section shall apply. It doesn't say who it applies to. You have to get down to F, permitting requirements, that says,
Well, I thought that was the paragraph just saying that if you have to go through the following steps in order to even.
it's just applicability means
applicable.
who should this be applied to,
Right.
but that's not dealt with until F. It's not clear, is all I'm saying.
D and
is-
E, I thought were
But
sending
it's
us
in,
to F.
it's in the law.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's a
I
no-brainer
won't
to get
belabor
this
the
out
point.
there.
Let the others,
No, no,
let
no.
the others
I
comment
think it's a
on it.
no-brainer to get this
All right,
out there
yeah,
and to.
Susan agrees, so.
But I think you should also ask the building department specifically, not just on the law, but about any changes made to the building permit to specifically.
Already did that this afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you. It was
Let's
a
get
great
this
idea.
referred out.
Yeah, so can I have a motion to refer out battery energy storage system law?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. I'd like to open the floor to public comment, 3 minutes per speaker. And please remember, you do not have to wait to contact us with any problems or issues. You can always reach us, anyone at the dais here, including the town clerk, via telephone or email, or come into our offices. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gregory Kravtsov, Yorktown Taxpayer Subsidy Committee, and I believe you have my writings. I will read it again, and I would expect Chairman to answer substantively. In continuation of previous delivered to you description of space-time matrix patented new detection of prion recognized source of mad cow disease, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, Alzheimer, Parkinson, Lewy body dementia. Please accept this proposal of town official recognition of the following facts and propositions. Number one, space-time matrix newly developed in cooperation with Columbia University Applied Physics Department, misfolded polypeptide tertiary conformation structure was able to trace source of prion infection, which is Yorktown Municipal Water Supply. Number two, 3 dead victims. First, Daniel Riley of Broad Street. Second, Mila Richman of Vendel Lane, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease both. And third victim, Glenn Johnson of Birch Street, Lewy body dementia. Some people might know Glenn Johnson. He was very active member of this community. Cause of death needs to be officially recognized as a direct result of prion infection coming from municipal water. Number three, since United States prion official foremost authority, Dr. Brian Appleby of Creutzfeldt-Jakob Disease Cleveland Institute, recognition that until reliable cure for prion-borne infection is found, Center for Disease Control will do everything to prevent unnecessary public panic. However, since that admission, AI, artificial intelligence-driven research, made official admission of prion involvement not only in Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, but in Alzheimer, Parkinson, and Lewy body dementia. Number 4, Columbia University forthcoming prion class action uses space-time matrix detection and identification of prion, different strains of prion infection legally through co-ownership of my United States patent. I have a patent for this technology. Please advise if Yorktown would consider bearing its share of cost of detection of cause of death of above described 3 local prion victims. Just to remind you that you might know the story of PFAC. It's a polyphthoralkyl substances, PFAS. Government first denied through 1990s, then they fought it, and before they recognized it, there were
Mr.
lawsuits.
Kravtsov, your time is up.
So
Thank you.
lawsuits preceded official recognition.
Thank you, Mr.
The
Kravtsov.
same path might be with prion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mark Lieberman, Wall Street.
Hi, Mark.
So, first, just very briefly, I would appreciate it. It's come up before. If you would move public comment earlier on the agenda, please. I think many of the things that you talk about could be after public comment because a lot of people want to get home. All right, so when you
talk about
came
anything
out
yet.
with the tentative agenda, there was no proclamation for Black History Month. And then you added it for the final agenda, which I appreciate, but I feel it's not as comprehensive as last year's. So I'd like to offer the proclamation as follows. Whereas Black History Month was first celebrated as Negro History Week on February 1st, 1926, and whereas it became a nationally recognized month in 1976, to pay tribute to African Americans who struggled through an oppressive society, and whereas the town of Yorktown recognizes and acknowledges that Black history is in fact American history, and whereas Black History Month gives our community time to reflect on the struggles and triumphs of African Americans throughout our national society, and whereas African Americans have made invaluable contributions to the American cause, including protecting our liberties and democratic society, and whereas the town of Yorktown acknowledges and applauds the many contributions that African American members of society have made, including but not limited to John Swett Rock, Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall, Duke Ellington, Maya Angelou, and Jackie Robinson. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Yorktown recognizes February as Black History Month, and be it further resolved that the town of Yorktown stands as a community of hope, generosity, and acceptance to everyone regardless of religion, race, national origin, ethnicity, culture, or orientation. So I would like it if you would
Beautiful.
vote on this one.
It seems like the one we read last year. I know.
That's the one we had last year, yeah.
Yeah, they do change from year to year as we have different people working them. Howard,
Thanks,
how are
Mark.
you?
Good evening. Hi, I'm Howard Gould from Yorktown Heights. I've been here for 25 years, and I'm against the lithium batteries totally. If there should be a fire, we're building a lot of development, and the traffic is, let's face it, it was rated F, if I remember correctly. We're adding, wasn't it rated F in some areas? Anyway, I don't want to waste my time. If there should be a major fire, how are we going to get the people out of Yorktown, you know, just saying, and it would create a dangerous situation. Number two, during a planning board meeting, if I heard correctly, I don't have the exact quote, the solar panels could last 25 years, if I heard it correctly. You could correct me, Sergio.
It was like 20 or 25, right?
Okay, they're collecting a bond, I believe, of 20% per year, if I heard it correctly, or 15 or some 10. And someone asked a question, what happens if we don't collect enough? And who's responsible for it? Now, that could put Yorktown in a federal government debt position. We were just sweeping it under the rug. Now, who would be responsible? Are we laying the money on the kids of the future? Do we want to do that? The kids of the future are going to be responsible for other things. By then, the housing prices will be up, the loans will be up. Why are we leaving the debt to our children? You see what goes on with the government. Look at what the debt is doing. The president is trying to prevent that. And JFK wants to stop fluoride. I'm outlining my thing because I don't have too much time. He does not want fluoride in our water at all within the United States. Number one, the president, Mr. Trump, President Trump, respectfully, I'm not a fan, but I do agree, he does not want the full electric cars in the United States. He's saying is drill, baby, drill. That's his speech. Let's go for the liquid gold. This is what he says. I'm sure that's what he wants to do. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not reading him right, but this is what I watch his speeches. And he seems to have control over it. Now, as far as the lifetime of the guarantee, with the whatever, I'm going to end. Could I do the 11 seconds? Pass it on.
No.
It doesn't
Anyway,
work though.
thank
But
you
thanks.
for hearing me out.
And I love your shirt.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to give it to.
You used it already, Howard.
Oh, thank you.
Howard, thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm thankful that the town of Yorktown's recognized Black History Month.
I'm sorry, could you please introduce yourself?
Oh, sorry. My name is Michael Hickens. I'm a Yorktown resident, live on McKeel Street.
Mike, how are you?
Good, Sergio. How are you?
Very good.
Good. As I was saying, I'm thankful for the recognition of Black History Month. I can't help but notice the Hometown Heroes banners that fly on lampposts around town, mainly on main streets like Commerce Street and Underhill. And they have, as you know, photos of men and women of Yorktown who've served in our armed forces as far back as World War II, through the Korean War, Vietnam, all the way through the most recent conflicts that we've had. And a friend also pointed out to me, and ever since he pointed this out, I haven't been able to unsee the fact that there's not a single one of those people that are African American. Despite the fact that it's common knowledge that African Americans have served in disproportionate numbers to their population. 12% of the total veteran population is African American. 21% of active duty U.S. forces today are African American. Since it is Black History Month, I'd like to see Yorktown do more to ensure that African Americans are properly represented by the town, and that Black Americans are properly recognized when we celebrate veterans. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Good evening, Sarah Wilson, resident of Yorktown Heights. I also want to thank the town board for recognizing Black History Month this month. And I wanted to shout out our amazing library. The John C. Hart Library has a whole raft of activities planned for this month to recognize Black History Month for children, story hours highlighting African American authors, art club. There's an interactive drumming, call and response for children, for families. And then for adults, there are 3 Zoom sessions that are scheduled for this month that have interesting speakers that tie into that theme. So just wanted to make our residents aware of some of the great programs. They always have great programs, but these are specific to Black History Month. And now, switching gears, just for an item on the agenda, it's the very last item on the agenda tonight, and it relates to the authorizing the Water Department to purchase and install an M400B2 base station transmitter to address the dead zones in town for the water meters at a cost of $127,336. Now, I know that on December 17th, I made some comments because that was on the agenda and it was approved by the town board to purchase that base station transmitter at a cost of $49,000. So I just am hoping you can clarify, is this an incremental $127,000 over and above the $49,000 that was approved on December 17th? Or is it the total cost against which we already authorized 49 and now there's still 78,000 additionally being authorized? The only difference in the wording between the two resolutions is that tonight's mentions the installation of an 80-foot steel pole and antenna. And I know in December, you know, I asked, is this an all-in price? Does it include the antenna? Does it include the installation, et cetera? So if you can address that, what this additional either $78,000 or $127,000 is. And if it is for the installation, construction of an 80-foot pole, you know, the town has existing structures. We have water tanks. You have access to get onto commercial towers in the town that the antenna could be mounted on. So is this construction of a new pole with all the corresponding engineering, construction, SECRA requirements? If you can just explain a little bit, clarify, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. It won't hold on another one. That's why I need steel.
Hi.
Hi.
Dan Strauss, 58-year resident. I just wanted to start by giving a shout out to the Highway Department, Parks and Rec, and the Refuse and Recycle, because I do a lot of work with them in my daily travels and whatever. So, and especially to the highway for the work they've done in the snowstorms. Bike racks. I went over to the Trailside Cafe today, and the lady immediately pointed across the street. They store them. The development behind the basketball court. She said immediately. She said they store them. So I'm giving you the answer to your question.
Yep.
And so it depends what you want to do, whether you want them stored or you don't want them stored, whatever. But don't make it complicated. Don't complicate it. I'm not going to be Repo Dan. I know you can't. I can't do that. But don't complicate it. Either tell them either store them there, it's okay, or get them out of there. That's all. You don't need to go through laws and all kinds of stuff. Okay, fluoride. I just want to ask. I'm not getting on either side of the discussion tonight. I just want to ask. There was a grant, I believe, given to the town for like $900,000. What happened to the grant, or what happens to it? Does it go to highway, or does it go? Where does it go? Okay, Route 6. I know there's going to be a study by 2028. I'm simply saying to you again, going east at the traffic light that exists right now, I'm sorry, that doesn't exist, making the left. If you push the left lane, back 8 or 10 cars, you'll alleviate a lot of the traffic problem. I'm not getting into more traffic lights. You could do that. It's a state road, but I believe you could work with DOT to do that. Okay, the mall. I couldn't understand what you were really saying about the mall, Jefferson Valley Mall, whether they're going to redo it or whatever. But I'm just telling you, there are 2 trucks that are parked there all the time. And the code of conduct of that mall says no overnight parking, because I happen to be in there and I happen to read the code of conduct. There's no overnight parking allowed, and there are 2 trucks parked there all the time near the clothing drop-off, which is the stupidest thing to have where it is, because it's right at the entrance to the mall. Why don't you put it in the back somewhere? And they also have vans, overnight, what do you call those? Long-term trucking vans parked there periodically. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. A few tidbits, okay, for you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Hey, Larry.
Good evening. Larry Killian, Yorktown Heights. Ed and Sergio, last month you suggested that you don't have control over tax certs. I would respectfully disagree. For years, I've been warning that by encouraging the building of new commercial space, as our 485B policy does, we are drastically reducing the value of existing space and thus increasing the amount of the tax certs. I made this exact point in the June 23 Town Board meeting when discussing the Veterans Road building that used to house the Caремount offices. Ed, at that time, you offered a completely different explanation from me. You said there was a new owner that was going to dress up the property, and you said, and I quote, "So the tax assessment will go up on that building, it will generate more taxes." Never happened. This approach to generating new tax revenue simply does not work in the 21st century. And to the last town board meeting, Ed, you said that we budget for tax certs. Sometimes they're higher, sometimes they're lower. However, our budgeting is only a tiny fraction of what is currently needed. The Yorktown School District is recognizing the scope of the tax cert problem. In their January 13 preliminary budget, which will be voted on in May, they listed $12.6 million in pending tax certs. Here's just one of many examples of pending cases. The owners of the Lowe's property, just for that, not the other parts, are asking for $1.6 million refund for the past 5 years. If the court gives them only 30%, the schools would have to refund $490,000, the town around $70,000. Towns across the country are suffering from massive decline in the value of commercial real estate. We must recognize this challenge and address it with more transparency. Our 485B tax policy is a major factor lowering the value of existing research. It should be changed yesterday because we're continuing to take hits with Chipotle, Walgreens, and Dunkin'. Susan, years ago, you had a 485B report.
Larry, sorry, your time
You
is
should
up.
share it again with your colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Hi.
Michael Beeks, Yorktown resident.
Hey, Michael.
Been here for about 2 hours. I think it absolutely makes sense to prioritize safety in regards to energy storage systems, but I also like the idea of keeping a placeholder there because the intermittent energy storage systems like solar and wind, in order to become an efficient system, have to be able to store their excess energy for the times when they're not producing energy. So it's eventual that when they come up with, really safety-proven systems that, are fire rated and whatnot, that's going to make sense. I guess one last thing, hearing about Alice, the first face that I put on Yorktown when we moved here was Alice, and it was a very friendly face. Diana was second, but coming to the clerk's office and working with Alice on all the issues we had on getting settled in the town, it just brings back a lot of great memories. And so my prayers are with her.
Thank you, Michael.
That's beautiful, Michael. Okay.
Anyone else for courtesy of the floor? Motion to close courtesy of the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just a couple things. Mr. Kratzoff left. I've tried looking into some of this. Either it's very modern research that's not on the internet yet. I've looked into the people that he said has passed. I've not been able to find anything there. I haven't even found obituaries on them. We're also not a coroner's office to look at how you look at a cause of death. Unfortunately, we're not at that level, and I don't think any of us can comment on that either. And what for the prion, the prion testing and looking at things. I don't know where that's going to go. Unfortunately, the way progress moves, I just know when he talked about AI saying something, AI-driven research, that's even a new field that everything is not perfect in as well. So, Mr. Kravtsov, I really can't validate any of this for the town just because we have a lack of information and can't find it. So I thank you for your research on it. I think it's probably a federal CDC or NIH issue, and please keep on looking at that. I know it's a passion for you, and I hope that they could get things figured out. As for the MLK, not MLK, sorry, the Black History Month resolution not being there, we were working different resolutions this year. There were 4 of them in total, as you saw. We don't always put those out there, and they get read into the record here, and they're always on the final document. Sometimes Diana helps with them. Sometimes my office helps with them, either Lorraine and or Margaret. So there will be changes from year to year. I did like the one from last year better, Mark, and thank you for bringing it
I
up.
also want to encourage anyone who wants to do, because it doesn't say we did a proclamation, but if somebody wants to do one more comprehensive, like you wrote on top of yours, I took it, but I would like to encourage everyone, when we read about a proclamation that is close to someone's heart, please feel free to make it even more comprehensive, especially if there's courtesy of the floor. I think we learn by listening.
So, but I will say that, I learned an interesting thing in my study of Black history. I think it's February 2nd is the anniversary of course, having an ice cream business, of the ice cream scoop. And it was invented by an African-American by the name of Alfred L. Crowell. And he worked in a store, and they used to use spoons to get the ice cream out, and he would be covered in ice cream, and he went and invented the ice cream scoop.
That's cool.
So, there's no barrier any longer, hopefully, for people of all races, sexes, everything, to be able to invent, to be able to bring things in, to be able to contribute, and we've seen it. We've seen it, a lot of things have changed in my days. And Mark, I think you have a couple of years on me. I know you do, because I know what you just celebrated. And I think it's, we should all be working towards striving to improve all types of acceptance and brotherhood.
Yeah, but Supervisor, I do think that there are plenty of boundaries, and barriers. I think that there's something called a blind spot, and I think it's our job to constantly be opening up and checking in for those blind spots. And I think that there is a lot of sensitivity around it, and I do appreciate you bringing a more comprehensive verdict at it, and I do want to name, it is our job as individuals to look at our own blind spots so that we can be better. And to what you were doing, Michael, those are purchased, those flags. I think you'll touch on that?
Since I'm part of the program.
And I hear what you're saying, and thank you for noticing that, but
so
we don't purchase them. Like the family members purchase them.
So Howard, I got all your stuff. Thank you. You unpacked a lot. Michael, the flags are actually purchased by family members. There are a couple of African Americans that are represented. I know because one of them is a friend of mine, and I actually bought the flag for him, and I renew it every year.
And if it's a cost thing, then maybe there's some way where we can support it. But it's also for that family to come forth. The Legion is very, very willing to help.
Yeah, and I have after I bought one, I've had a couple of people say, "Oh, you know what? If you find someone, I'll contribute." They didn't really care about the race; they just wanted to celebrate veterans, which is what we do.
Where is
it's on. Actually, it's usually right near where he lives on East Main Street.
They try to
but
put 'em
right
in.
now they're all down. They come down every year for,
They don't tear.
after Veterans Day because the winds of the winter kill them, and then they go up for Memorial Day, and he's usually right along Route 6. Ronald Brockett served in our army during Vietnam. Very good guy.
My understanding is that the program is sponsored by the VFW.
No, it's actually the American Legion, but we don't buy the flags. We do it as a fundraiser. I'm the Sons of the American Legion. Actually, it's more the Sons that do it, and we do it as an honor and a tribute, but to raise money for veterans services. So
Basically, you fill out an application and say, hey, it's a quick form. I think it's $100.
well, you have no. That's the flags, the flag fields. I think they're because now we do the two-sided. I think they run $275. I'll know because I'm replacing my father's. We did one-sided back in the day, and I want to go to a two-sided for him. But yeah, I think it's like $275. You have to upload a picture, which actually I thank Paul Martin because when we did Ronald's, he didn't have a good picture. His was like bent, and we were able to not only preserve it, using the computer, but print him off a good copy of it as well. But it's a little bit of a process, and Paul Martin, who's in
And they're
the
handled with
Sons,
care.
can help anyone. But if you know of anyone, let us
Yeah.
know if they're having trouble. I have a few friends who will help support that and donate.
I mean, it's great for our kids to even raise money for
I'll
something
do it.
like that, right? The amount of Girl Scout cookies I buy, I'd rather be buying flags, to be honest.
Also,
let's talk the truth. So
also-
it's good to teach our kids.
Yeah, I also like to point out that there is a monument that was erected for the Rhode Island Regiment, which is the first black regiment in
Actually, it's triracial.
Right,
It's
and
African
so-
American, American Indian, and colonials.
So there is representation. I agree with you. There's not enough representation. There could always be more. But as far as the flags go, it's usually sponsored by, some kind of a family member or something like that. But if you know of anybody, I'd be happy to contribute.
And for me, it is about the blind spots, and I do think that, and I encourage anyone because I have gotten some not so friendly emails about my inability to have friends of different races to my work email. So I'm going to go ahead and say whoever's sending that, you can send them, but I have plenty of friends in all different races. But one of the things that I will tell you is no matter what your skin color is, when you're black, you have that thing where I am black, and there is something there. And if we can sit and actually listen and hear what it feels like, you can improve greatly. And I think we don't do enough of that. So sometimes fake allyship is my biggest popper. Maybe call me because I'm from the Bronx, but I like to believe it. Like if the door's open and you're willing to tolerate it and you're willing to sit with somebody, no matter what, and hear it and give that person that space, and you know that I am going to get it wrong, or they may get it wrong, or their judgment may be wrong but I'm coming from a place of goodness. Forget it. That's how people can save people. That's how we can be great.
I appreciate what you guys are saying about this. And
I'm sorry, Michael. We can't have a conversation from the audience. You could talk to us after the meeting on the side. Sarah, I'll get clarification, but from what I understand, that price was everything, including like all the site work and engineering that had to be done. So it all got put together. But I'll make sure it does need to have a separate pole for the strength of the pole, and the location of it is a little different from where there's something available from what I understood. But I'll follow up on it with water tomorrow.
I mean, the steel pole is 80% of that.
Dan, for the bike storage, thank you. Actually, someone had told me that actually, I think you might have come up to my office and spoken to Lorraine. So,
He spoke to
oh, spoke to. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, but Diana told me, so I left a message for the owner of the complex to ask him to put a bike rack on the complex of somewhere, so we don't have that, and that will make it a heck of a lot simpler. So, but thank you.
And I agree. If it's not bothering anyone, it's fine to store. I think from what Jimmy was telling me, it's the ones that have rusted onto the.
Well, we've gotten complaints, so
yeah, those are the ones.
People that want to use it, so that's why it's an issue. And then
people complain
a
lot.
The DOT on Route 6, they won't let us do anything like that without going through it, and they're the ones who want the traffic light. So we're stuck there. It seems like a simple fix, and they should be amicable to it, but unfortunately they're not. The trucks at the mall and their overnight parking, the mall is private property, so we don't really have that say. They're the ones not enforcing or choosing not to, or they may be renting the space at this point because they're looking to see whatever they could do. I don't know, but we don't really have that control for that. Mike, thank you for the comments on the safety and fire ratings. You know, look, that and you hit the nail on the head. We're going to need it down the road. They need to improve the safety. They need to make sure we don't have these runaway fires. And you know, they probably have to get away from lithium ion. There were at least 3 fires this past week. One in Peekskill, one in a garbage truck they had to dump, and one actually at a recycling plant. And Dave told me that and now it's speculation, but there was a highway garage that burned down up in Dutchess, and they think it might have been due to lithium ion, but it's speculation. He could just be trying to, you know, oh, Ed, go, because he doesn't like it. But yeah, they're dangerous, plain and simple. And Larry, I have spoken to our assessor about the improvements. They have been doing work at that building, but I know it was slow in the beginning, and they haven't come in for a CO yet on everything. I did get some numbers finally about the costs and what we've spent. I know some of the numbers that came out there, well, not what we spent, but what was abated for it. But just looking at improvements only, the total projected town taxes 11 years out, because I want to know what that last year brings in, for all of the 485Bs out there right now, is $1,074,717.36. Now that's for the work that has been done over a 10-year period, not the underlying tax, which remained in place. Although one of them, which skews the number a little bit, was a tax-exempt property. Actually, a couple things or abandoned properties. Lowe's in particular was an abandoned property. The savings for the improvements for the contractors was $352,304.64, or would be, I'm sorry, over 10 years, because some of those are not complete, which means the improvements brought in $722,412.72, which is good. But one of the things that's missing out of this, we'll talk about Lowe's in particular. When Lowe's came in, they spent $3.5 million to sewer the whole area by Old Crown Pond Road. That was a give back to the community as well. We have work being done on roads. We have traffic lights being done. These projects also have other intangibles. And I've said it before, and I will reiterate this, but I know I've spoken to people that were like, I would have walked away if this wasn't there. But I will still say, unless any of us are sitting on the board of directors of those companies that are looking to come in or not come in, or even the people, the landlords that own the buildings, unless we're sitting there, we don't know if they're going to do the work or not do the work. How long did Kmart stand open because of a lease thing, and they didn't want to do any of the work there? And then it became something where they're like, you know, we could save a little tax money, we could get some tenants in here, and look at how beautiful the front of that plaza has now become, the Yorktown Green, and it's vibrant again. You know, it's no more tumbleweeds through the parking lot. I'm sure when Dan walks around, he can't find a lot of garbage because their car's parked all over the road. I was being facetious, Dan. I know you can find garbage, but the point is there are a lot of intangibles that are on there. Look at the jobs that are coming in, and you know we need to think about this. You have Lowe's, you have Chipotle, you have the pizzeria, AAA, Trader Joe's, and Starbucks, all in that one center. And how many jobs are out there for that? That's some amazing things for our economy, for our people. And and I don't look at it as only Yorktown. They hire people from Peekskill. They hire people from Cortland, Mayapack, even some from Putnam. But it gives people opportunity. So look, I'm going to say, judging by the list that Sergio read, retail is not dead here yet. Retail is actually pushing and growing in Yorktown right now, and they're figuring out ways to do things that are service oriented as well. The pickleball, all of these things, you can't. Well, you can try to quantify it, but you can't quantify everything it brings into our community. But I would say even just looking at the money that we've made on the improvements. And granted, you know, that's a 10 or 11 year hit. You know, it's only 1/10 of 722 is 7,000, but that's $7,000 more than we had.
The one thing that's consistently unsubstantiated is the notion that, oh, they were going to do it anyway, and we gave them the 45B because it was going to happen anyway. What was that?
I'm sorry, $72,000.
So, you know, I mean, that's easy to say, it's easy to throw out there, but you don't really know that, you know, and the idea is to give these incentives so this way you create an environment where all these businesses do want to come in. And then when you look at the numbers, there's a clear difference.
Yes.
Now, would I love to do it without giving, you know, incentives? Like, absolutely, you know, but it's just not that easy. Very easy to say. It's easy to say, yeah, it was going to happen anyway. They were coming no matter what. How do you know that? I don't know. I don't know if they were or they weren't, to be quite honest. I can't tell you they weren't going to come. I can't tell you the opposite either, but I'm willing to admit that I can't tell you that.
Well, I know two projects that wouldn't have happened if they didn't have the 45B. So, but the other ones I can't talk about, but because I don't know.
Moving courtesy of the floor for Larry.
Huh?
I'll discuss that. I'll do.
Are you gonna? Okay.
When you're done.
Okay.
And then I'm sorry, there was one other comment Larry had. Oh, on this tax tertiaries. You know, I know you're saying it's a declining property value. I think that's happened across the country, not just Yorktown, but I don't necessarily think that it's geared by construction per se, and I think that new renovation and construction will actually increase rents more now, and those properties will become more. So, is the base assessment wrong? That's not my expertise. I've been talking to our assessor about that because, you know, we need to look at it. And he said bottom line is any big firm goes in and says, oh, we're going to just throw a cert in and see if we get something back. They could ask whatever they want. Doesn't mean they're going to get it. It's a whole legal process. It goes before a judge. They have to get assessments. We have to get assessments. But it's a legal process. And unfortunately, there are some people that will just, you know, throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. And that'll keep happening. I don't think that's going to change. And I get 3 or 4 solicitations a year saying, hey, grieve your taxes. Yeah. I think everyone here gets that. There are people that make money on it. Sometimes they save you money. Sometimes they don't. You know, I once put it in and they were like, yeah, no, you're good. So it is what it is. Diana, did you want to address something? Or?
Sure. First of all, happy birthday to Rosa Parks. She was born on 2/4/1913.
Oh,
very cool.
Happy birthday.
The other part is you talked about public comment and courtesy to the floor. That will fluctuate on the agenda, and I've said that before, depending on what's on the agenda. In this particular case, there was discussion on battery storage, and for transparency reasons, and to give the public a moment to be able to comment on that, it was placed before public comment.
That makes sense.
Which I agree with, because, if you don't do that, then the discussion happens after the public. There's no good answer here. If you put it before, then the public doesn't have an opportunity to respond, and then somebody's going to say, well, you're not giving everybody the opportunity. You put courtesy of the floor first because you're trying not to be transparent. You don't want to hear what we have to say about something. That's what's going to happen. If you put it ahead of time, if you put it after courtesy of the floor, if you put it after the discussions, then it does make the meetings drag on, and for people that want to have public comment, it keeps them there a little later. We love to have you here.
God
Don't get
bless.
me wrong,
Bless
but
you.
God bless you. But it's the lesser of two evils. Which one is it? I don't know. I would rather give people the ability to have the opportunity to comment, because think about it. The next meeting would be a work session. You wouldn't have time to comment on the discussion item that we had tonight until 2 weeks from now, and then the meeting next week isn't gonna happen. So now you're going again. It's the same thing I said before. So which one is it? Which one's the better way? Is there 100%? Yeah, we should do it this way because that's 100% the best way. No, it's not that kind of a
I think
decision.
Diana
It's not
has
black
it
and
under
white.
control.
Yeah,
And you do a
Diana
good
We
knows
job.
try to make our agendas as transparent as possible,
Thank you.
and we want people to be able to discuss what's on the agenda.
Patrick, Susan, any comments?
Yeah, I do. Let me start with the public comment issue, because I did say something before we came down here tonight, about changing that, because this isn't the first time that public comment has come much later in the agenda. I think 2 weeks ago, it was after a very lengthy discussion about the solar issue. I've heard my colleagues, I respectfully disagree with them. I think it's a discourtesy to the public who comes and has always expected it to be here. Well, maybe sometime between 8 and 8:30, and then I can go home and put my kids to bed or do what I have to do. This way, it is so uncertain. The best discussion was relatively limited tonight, but last time's solar discussion was much more extended.
Susan, it's interesting you bring this
Can-
up.
can I just fin-
Yes, but I just want to say something. I've been here when there's been 9 o'clock meetings, and we've been at 9 o'clock, and I've also been to the 2 o'clock meetings. And ever since under Matt Slater originally when I was elected, they've always been really long. The amount of people that I beg to come to these town board meetings, whether it's going to be guaranteed to be short or not, are usually the same amount. And the discussions do vary, but they're usually the same amount. Yes, there's 1 or 2 political stunts that might bring more people in. I actually have a pleasure of those because I get to see people I haven't seen all 4 years of my election term. But I'm just curious to you, because you're talking about the public courtesy of the floor. There are days where I think it's very unfair because we pack the agenda and there's just so much going on. And by the time the courtesy of the floor comes, there's a lot to talk about, and then that drags long. But I do wonder, you've been doing this a lot longer. I thought this was going to be so much more fun and so many more. I thought I was going to be able to pay for my friends to come see me. Nobody comes. I get more comments later on. I watched you and I liked your hair. So I'm curious about this.
Well, if you want some history, there used to be 2 courtesies of the floor. There one is the beginning of the meeting, and there was one at the end. So that
No,
at
it
the
was not great.
So well,
I would like to see more people. Please come.
Because then you
Thanks,
could at the beginning you could comment on resolutions and say, could you please explain what's in that resolution?
I
You're
think
going to
all
be
I'm
late.
saying is I want more people to come.
I think
You
that's
want two.
that's a function. I think.
Two.
No, I'm not. No.
You're complaining about after that.
I'm not saying going back.
You want
I'm not.
courtesy at 2 in the morning?
I'm not saying going back to 2. I'm just saying you asked for some history, and since I've been around for quite a number of years, I can just tell you that there were 2. And then there was a time when they put one courtesy at the very end of the meeting, and a lot of people objected to that. All I'm saying, and the other change that has been made possibly as of last year, is when when you've reduced the number of work sessions and you're throwing in a discussion item, which would typically be a quote, a work session item in the middle of a regular meeting, you have created that problem of how to schedule things and have lengthened other meetings. So that's another issue. And the personnel,
We have lengthened other meetings?
depending on certain things. In terms of the people not coming here, I think fewer people come here because we have televised more meetings. And over the years, I can go back to when there was no television and when there was television only for regular meetings. And then I had to make a stand for quite a number of years to get the work sessions televised, all right? So we have progressed, and that's why people can stay home if they don't have anything specific that they want to say. But I think it should be more consistent, and certainly I have seen no reason why personnel has to be up even before that.
Well, I don't make the agenda. I will continue to leave that in the clerk's hands, capable hands.
Well, I would like to say as a former supervisor that this is the town board's agenda, and it's the town board that sets the agenda, and with all due respect to the...
Supervisor's agenda, but Diana puts it together. We discuss every agenda ad nauseum, and we go through it. Her rationale is perfect. She's been doing it a couple of years.
26.
26 years.
And I might add that personnel has always been up front, so that people that are here that might get sworn in or that resolution is adopted by the board doesn't have to sit here all night.
And most of the times, they're not here. Okay, just to move along.
They can watch on TV.
Sarah, thank you for bringing up the water thing and for catching that, because I didn't see that. Dan, you asked a question about the grant, the $900,000 grant for the water thing. When the whole fluoride issue surfaced, I contacted the State Department of Health that gave us the grant, okay? And they said, as long as it started within the allowed time frame, it went online in August of 24, and then we suspended it in September of 24. They said it met their requirements, and I said, but it was only in existence for 1 month, and then it was terminated. They didn't get back to me on that, so they're not, we don't.
But it got used to rebuild the fluoride plant as an
I
answer.
think that the town had to spend, and I haven't seen final numbers, but my guess is possibly up to $200,000 more. There were a lot of unexpected expenses, a lot of problems surfaced that we didn't know about. So the grant was $901,000, but I think over the years, the town board did have to do some additional. So I'm not sure whether it was between $100,000 and possibly $200,000 that the town had to outlay, which is for naught right now because we have no fluoride unless.
Well, Susan, it's not for naught, but it runs contrary to belief that I've heard people say, oh, the town board never was going to bring fluoride back. And that's not true. We had every intention of it. We did bring it back. We did start it. And as I publicly stated, if things went south on that federal ruling, we would pause it. And that's exactly what we did. And you know what? Very transparent. I am not going to breeze over a situation because I think it might offend someone. I'm sorry. You know what? If when I started Fluoride Up, I pissed off everyone who was here saying I don't want fluoride in my water. And a month later, I pissed off the other half of the people. So, you know what? Right now, people have my pictures on dartboards, and probably not only for that reason. But I think I find it unconscionable that you seem to be ticked off at the state that they're not coming back for the money.
No, I just asked them.
It sounds like you were trying to lobby for us to give the money back to them.
I asked them the question.
That's what you said. You said they said it was okay, and what? They
Well,
said it was okay. They said, no, it went online, it met our requirements. And then you went back and you said, yeah, but it was only online for a month.
Well,
So you're lobbying for the state for us to give the state the money back.
Well,
$900,000 from the taxpayer.
Strictly for a gotcha.
Okay.
So we used it.
We
did the whole fluoride.
Dan,
I think that's unconscionable. I got to be honest. That really, really, really is upsetting. That you would try to lobby that the state would require us to give the money back. I mean, that's just crazy.
Okay.
All right, let's go on. I just have another issue. I'm glad to know that,
You get to keep the money, Dan.
that if it's from the assessor's office, he made that report on the 485B. Would you share that, please, with the rest of the town board and make it available in the clerk's office?
I just got a copy tonight. I think you saw Lorraine walk it up to me.
Oh, okay.
earlier.
So Larry can get that. And also, I found that interesting what Larry said about how the school board, Yorktown School District, has this list of what the potential give back might have to be on refunds. And it's all speculative, but they have one number, what the property owner is asking, but then they're taking only 30% number. And so as a board member, I would like to ask that the assessor's office put together a list for all of us so that we know that we have 1, 5, 10, how many tax certs are pending, what the upper limit is, and then he could always do a spreadsheet column at 30% so we could have a long-range view. It's good for budgeting, whether the 50,000 that's in the budget, or it could be like the JV Mall took a much bigger hit. Back, I think it was, I'm not sure when I was either supervisor or 2015 when I was on the board, when we were anticipating a large outlay for cert payments, we actually set aside some money in the fund balance because we knew what was coming. So this way, just the way the Yorktown School District is coming, from a fiscal standpoint, I think we should.
So unfortunately, our budget season is different than the schools.
I'm not talking about budget season, I'm talking.
But when the certs came in, like the ones that they were able to account for, we were already done with our budget.
Yeah.
I would say, Adam, how long does a cert take to run to fruition? About how long did the mall take?
Generally years.
Right.
The years build
So
up.
so the 30% may be an annual appreciation to put aside, or it might be. I don't know if Larry was actually saying they counted for 30% or if he gave a 30% number because it gets adjusted. But even so, it's also a way that someone might want to pad their budget, and I don't want to.
I'm not putting it, I'm not saying put it in the budget. It should not be in the budget because we have
You
no
don't know.
idea what, I'm just saying as a long-range planning tool.
Sure.
The previous, this board before I was on the board has set aside, I think roughly $6 million from the fund balance that you have outlined for certain projects. And I have requested more details about what those specific projects are, which I'm still waiting for that list. So you have a history of knowing, not official resolutions that make the official transfer, but you know from a planning point of view that, okay, I have $20 million in fund balance, but I'm planning to spend X amount of dollars
That's
for
what
this.
that money is.
So it would be helpful to know. The cert money might not be very much. I don't know. I'm just saying that when we start looking at how to use our fund balance, we might need to put money aside. That it's a planning tool that we should have.
That's what we did this year with the things that we planned on spending, but we don't have hard costs because of engineering. Look, there are a ton of different
It's
issues.
it's planning.
And I will say, like, I think Jim's here waiting to hear about his truck. They had one of their trucks go, and it's an expensive truck. So sometimes some of that money gets moved in other places. But there's an outline. It's in the budget. It's also, I gave you what we had counted on, and that money's going to those dedicated areas.
But as a board member, I would like more specifics. If you said $200,000 for something, I would like, there was contractual items, there was equipment items. I would, as a board member, I would like some more information. Is what I'm saying on how to do that. I think that's about it.
I just want to make one more comment. As a board member, right, it's important that we lobby and try to protect our taxpayers. So I hope to God that the state doesn't get back to your question that you answered after they gave you an answer that it wasn't necessary and we could keep the money, that they don't come back to you and say, we're requiring the town to give the money back. I hope not, because you said you were still, the question was still pending. And I got to tell you, it still boggles my mind, because you keep saying as a board member, as a board member, as a board member. As a board member, you should be trying to protect the taxpayers. Thank you.
That's why I'm fighting for fluoridation, and I hope that the appeal
No,
continues.
what you wanted to do is you didn't get the answer you wanted because the fluoridation didn't go the way you wanted. And so you're trying to create this atmosphere, and so this way we have to give the money back to force us to put the fluoridation back in the water. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm actually shocked, Susan, because I think you're a
Be
nice
shocked.
person, but but to just for your cause to try to cost the taxpayers in Yorktown $900,000
And we said
is
we're
just
just
unfathomable.
And we said
But
we're
I'll
just
stop there.
pausing the fluoridation.
That's a
matter.
euphemism, you're
Yeah,
pausing.
it's-
yeah.
if the judge comes back and says that, you know what, everything's okay, doesn't affect infants and doesn't affect pregnant women, then it
We
goes
could
back
revisit
on.
it.
It goes
That's
back
the thing,
on.
that's the
We
thing about
never
laws, they
said
could be
terminate.
revisited. But let the FDA do their job.
Well, it's now, it's the appeals, if the
Okay.
current
That's fine.
administration
So then
continues
let
the
it go
appeal.
through.
All
Hey,
right.
Supervisor, is it okay if you table this one for me? Because I would like to look into it before I vote on it.
Which one's
The
that?
one with the base station. I want to get more clarity.
Which one? I'm sorry,
The
Luciana,
base
which?
station, we have.
You mean the water meter?
Yeah.
That, they know that, they have a problem with
No,
one.
I know that. I understand that. But there was a discrepancy. When he spoke about it, it was kind of like as if they were just putting up the transmitter. And now it looks like they have to put up the pole, and which I understand. And being in construction, I know what a steel pole costs. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But I want to just see the quote.
Well, can we look at it? We could pass it, look at it, and, because I'm worried that we need to get this
We need
going.
to get it done.
You
They-
need the
they-
communication.
Okay, well
because
then-
we got the water bills coming up again.
I understand. So but if I don't know how much money I'm making on those water bills to spend $127,000, so I'm gonna vote no, and I think you probably are gonna be able to pass it anyway.
Okay, fine.
So we'll do it that way.
All right, so, I have 3 other, resolutions to read in on the regular thing. And so we'll go with these individual votes. Resolve, the town board extends the services of Carrie Vigilante for broadcasting services from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 at a rate of $550 per month, which is what our contract was for last year as well. Motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
You need them to? Yeah, she gave them to me, so. Resolved, effective January 1st, 2024, the following fees will be paid to Tom Ciangela for recording and Cablevision services, town board meetings and town board work sessions. Tom, I thought you did this for the fun.
Tom, if you don't do this, then more people will come.
I'm definitely not voting on this.
$250, planning board meetings, $250, zoning board meetings, $225, senior advisory committee meetings, $225, commission and/or committee meetings held at town hall boardrooms, $225, Yorktown Supervisors Show, $150, all meetings held outside town hall, $400, and off-site production to be determined.
I think we need to slash his rates right
can I
now.
have a-
No, he brings like the
Motion,
whole
motion.
world.
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Tom. No one else is gonna come.
No more Tom Ciangela.
All right, and then the last one to read in, authorize a supervisor to enter into an agreement with the Alliance for Safe Kids, Inc. for the provision of a community-based youth mental health, substance abuse prevention, recovery, and treatment program and resources. And I think we heard our
Yes.
chief speak about ASK today. Resolved that the supervisor is authorized to enter into an agreement with the Alliance for Safe Kids, Inc. for the provision of a community-based youth mental health, substance abuse prevention, recovery and treatment programs and resources in an amount not to exceed $20,000, which funding shall be in addition to the $40,000 that Westchester County has earmarked for the effort. The term of the agreement shall be retroactive to January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025.
Definitely a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And this is something we've been doing
do such a great
for
job.
the past
Ask
few
us to do a
years to support our youth in the community and the ever-growing mental health crisis. I would give a shout out to Liz Talbert, who has really taken charge of that program. As when they lost their funding and were not from a federal grant that they had, and she dedicates a tremendous amount of time into it, and that's where our youth council is chaired as well through the Alliance for Safe Kids, and
They do a
just-
great job.
Amazing work with our kids. Amazing work. Now on to our resolutions on the agenda. From the Office of the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center, authorized use of Nutrition Center in rooms 104 and 26 for 7.75 hours on Saturday, February 8th for Dancers Against Cancer fundraiser, and waive the rental fee of $1,198.75. From the Office of the Town Clerk, authorize the Town Clerk and Deputy Town Clerk to attend the 2025 New York State Town Clerks Association Conference and Training Meeting in Syracuse, New York, from April 27th to the 30th, 2025. That is the vacation capital of the world, Syracuse.
At least it's April.
You're still going to have 6 inches of snow.
You're going to drive into the snow.
Renew CRP Sanitation Inc. commercial garbage licenses for 2025. Renew Oak Ridge Hauling LLC commercial garbage license for 2025. Authorize a bid to be advertised for boiler maintenance and emergency on-call service. Authorize a bid to be advertised for disinfection system ultraviolet lamp replacements for the
Want to stop there, because I have questions about the next two.
Yorktown Heights Water Pollution Control Plant. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So the next two, Susan, what are your questions?
All right. At a previous meeting, the board rejected the bids that came in too high for this project.
We actually didn't reject it
Oh.
formally. We're keeping them. We broke the project up. These are two new bids. The project was broken up based on the work that needs to be done according to the original agreement from DOT. The second part of the bid is additional work that DOT is requesting that we do in order for a phase 3
For the intersection line.
of the intersection, which is more widening and an additional signal head. To do an additional signal head and to move them, they need what's called a mast. Thank you, Sergio. A mast pole instead of the rope pole, and there were some. They wanted additional crosswalks added, but there's no guarantee that DOT is going to come in and do it. So depending on how these bids come in, we will petition DOT to drop those from it, or petition them to agree to do phase 3, because they're responsible for that part of it, with the exception of what they're asking us to do right now. And then if that happens, if they agree, we would need to come back to the board and vote to see if we want to go ahead and put those additional things up for phase 3, or just the 1 and 2, 1 which is required of the developer. Phase 2 is what we wanted to do to improve that intersection even more, to keep our residents safe. And then phase 3 would be the perfect world scenario.
So I'm a little confused. The bid that we have not accepted, that was high, that included.
It's a combo.
That included 1,
Yeah.
2, and 3?
Well, no, that included 1 and 2,
One
and
and two.
parts of 3 that DOT
would
sort of
segue
wrote
to-
in.
Parts of 3.
Uh-huh.
DOT wants us to put some of these things in ahead of time in anticipation that they may or may not do phase 3. So what we're trying to do is not, when phase 3 comes up and the DOT, we know how quickly they move. When they decide to, do phase 3, we'll look at it then. Why spend the money now? That's the.
Well, no, we'll look at what comes in, and then we're gonna have to have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
The traffic improvements that the planning board expected to happen as part of this project and as part of its approval.
Is 1 and 2.
They did not include any part, because now you're saying that there's
So it's not-
some parts to part 3.
So
I'm confused.
So the planning department, I believe, John, can you come up?
Yeah, he can
Was it-
explain the
was it
One and
segue.
two.
Guys.
Planning was just 1 and 2.
Right, planning was 1 and 2, or was planning said you need to do phase 1,
Planning
we would
resolution
like,
required 1 and 2.
okay.
And then the state stepped in and
They
said,
had
we
other
want these
pieces of
additional
3.
things.
That's why one of the reasons it went so high.
And then we stepped in because the state said they have no intention of being here to do anything for at least 5 years. They have no money.
So you're saying that, that the town will not do then part 3? That we're gonna leave that at this point in
I
time?
want
up
I
to
want to
the
see what
state?
the prices come in, and I don't think that's a decision for me alone. I think that's a board discussion to say, this is what they want to do. If we petition and try to get a time frame for when they want to do it, do we want to, as a town board, do we want to invest the money to go through this and make it happen? So we could, once again, later on, have DOT come in and widen the road even more.
In the original bid, was there any distinction between part 1, 2, and 3, or was it all?
Yeah, there was a meeting.
But it was for 1 and 2, wasn't it?
There was a meeting with DOT, myself, Dan, the people from Unicorn. John, were you at that meeting? Okay. And the traffic consultant, and DOT came up and they started marking up everything that they had, which they had in advance. And they were like, well, we could do this, and that's where the mass lighting came in. So I didn't realize, personally, when it went into the bid, how I think it's like a $300,000 mass light. So all of these things started to add on. The extra 2 intersections with the crosswalk, the curbing, and the walk boxes that tell you when you could go, by adding 2 of those, that was another, I want to say it was $40,000, $50,000, just like that. They're great at spending our money, but they're like, oh, do this, do this, do this. And some of it they may end up requiring. It's like what happened to us with the fluoride plant, like we were talking about. We had an estimate, we get there, and Board of Health is like, oh, yeah, we want you to do this. Oh, yeah, now we want you to do this. We want you to do this. You feel like Dorothy, and it's you're not just looking for the broom of the Wicked Witch of the West. They want you to find her car, her horse, her dog, every mode of transportation.
So the crosswalks are only part of part 3? They're not part of 1?
No, they are. There were 2 crosswalks required.
I remember some.
They upped it, and there's a third one already on the north side of the road, going down a little bit. They then were like, well, do these 2 also.
So they added 2 more crosswalks?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I just want to, so the parts in the bid parts for 1 and 2, okay, are there no changes from the first bid?
There are some minor changes where they were going to stretch out the paving of the road to get ready for Phase 3. That was something that DOT had asked them to do. And the road is fine. We actually just did Underhill recently while I was in office, and they milled and cut and did the whole 9 yards. And I don't particularly want to spend too much money on what the state is supposed to do when they come in and do it.
So there were changes to 1 and 2 based on postponing 3?
Yeah, yes and no. There were just some extra asks that were put in there that I told them to pull it out.
All right. I think in all due respect, as a board member who had this question and who saw this afternoon, that this should have been discussed, these kinds of changes with the board, so we had a fuller understanding before we're just asked to vote on this.
Well, unfortunately,
And then-
it just came in this morning because we need to get the rebid out. It's been delayed because of what happened. It would be fiscally irresponsible for me and anyone on this board to have approved those extras and raise the price of that job, because we would be the ones raising it, not the contractor. They know what they need to do.
Oh, I
right.
brought that up at the last meeting, that it was considerably more.
So we definitely, in our fiscal responsibility, need to do that. But I need this running, because most of this work has to happen when school's out.
Yeah,
So
and
the
just
school
for
buses aren't
clarity,
there.
I understand
So
that.
we're going out for bid.
Would
and-
appreciate more communication.
Well, we're communicating now, in
no,
public.
Well, that's fine, but Susan's right. Like I said.
yes, but we never rescinded on the other one because it was too.
I met them yesterday with Dan and the traffic consultants. We had our meeting. I said, we went through what needed to be looked at and separated. And I said, please try to get me something today. At the end of the day, it didn't come until this morning. And that's where we are.
And the truth is, we need these so that we can go ahead and take apart the big number and say, if I add 1 and 2, this might be more fiscally responsible with the taxpayers' money than that one. That's why we didn't reject that one. So we're just, I mean, probably should be saying this.
I'm not opposed to it.
Like, oh, let me go find that one
Luciana,
bid, but
I didn't say I was opposed. I said I needed an explanation.
No.
That's
But I just,
confusing.
but I'm
the
just.
the public needs an
Right,
explanation.
and I see your point, Susan, and I'm more than happy to, and we're gonna be,
says it- okay.
when the bids come in, we're gonna be doing another piece on it.
And then we'll be talking about it
And-
again.
And but you know what, I'm not going to spend taxpayer money willy-nilly, and I'm gonna make sure that we are looking at it. So,
Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah,
You good
yeah.
now?
I needed to know what.
yeah, no, that's
Absolutely.
perfect.
Nobody's.
Authorize a bid to be advertised for the Route 118 Underhill Avenue intersection improvements. And then authorize a bid to be advertised for bids for the Route 118 Underhill Avenue intersection traffic signal upgrade. From the engineering department, authorize the controller to release the erosion control bond for O'Doherty in the amount of 500. And that is erosion control bond at 1225 Park Lane.
Can I just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it just occurred to me to go back to this 118 thing. When all of those traffic improvements were being proposed at Underhill Farm, we didn't know then what was going to happen at Yorktown Green. And we're delighted to see the additional traffic. I know when I try to get out of Downing Drive, I have a longer wait. I have to remember to go out at Keir Street where at least I have a light. And I just possibly keep in mind, we don't know what these prices are going to be, but considering what's happening at Yorktown Green and how that affects the whole traffic pattern along 118 to Underhill Avenue, if we're making improvements, this might be a time to consider whatever that additional traffic light issue is going to bring. And I don't know the specs on it. I don't know how it will increase, how it will improve the traffic flow. But that original thing was all planned before we knew what was going to happen there. And now we know what's happening. We know, we see the problems. We see the increased traffic without the pickleball, Michaels, and Five Below being there. And we already know we have a big issue.
So the answer, what you're talking about is probably light on Downing, but I don't think the state will do that because it's too
No,
close.
but the Underhill Avenue light, which you're kind of saying, it's expensive, it's on us, it's not on the developer, okay? Let's maybe rethink that, but what I'm saying is that was all planned before we had
Right,
this
the others-
additional traffic, which we know we are having already.
But I believe.
I'm just saying, look
I'm-
ahead.
I'm not sure, that's a good point. I'm not sure if, and I have to go back in my notes, but I believe at the time when this traffic study was going on for the 118 corner here and Underhill, Kmart was supposed to be a 4-story apartments or something. And I believe they took this into effect.
I don't-
They took
Yeah.
that.
Okay, Dan. Okay,
And that,
Dan.
right, and that,
Retail
and,
on the bottom,
and.
3 stories.
Okay,
all right.
Dan.
And I think that the traffic study for the 118 corner and Underhill took that traffic into
Right.
consideration, but I'm not sure.
John,
I will
could you
tell
answer that? I don't
But-
remember that.
It did.
It took
Thank
it
you.
in as the.
But-
as the-
Dan said absolutely.
Yes.
As the apartments, as just the apartments.
No, and retail underneath.
Retail underneath and then the apartments.
It looked at the apartments with it looked at the project, which had retail underneath and apartments above, yes.
How would the traffic change from traffic generation numbers from what was proposed with the apartments to what we have now? Could you ballpark that?
It's gonna be less, right?
I can't.
You have retail on the
I
bottom.
wouldn't want to throw out a number. I'll happy to go back and look at it and
Yeah,
report
but
back to you.
I will say though, John, I think it would shift the traffic generation to more early and rush hour. And a lot would depend on, you can't tell what the retail would be underneath, so you don't know, because I think it was limited retail.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go from, I think we looked at both, retail and the apartment complex, but I'd have to check that.
remember, yeah.
But I can tell you that when it was looked at holistically, not just that project, but others. And this intersection at Phase 2 was able to handle all of the traffic adequately. So
Okay, thank you.
what was happening was, you're starting to talk about Downing and others.
Yeah.
See, I still remember a couple of things, John. Not too bad, right? I pulled that. I was like, it's right here.
You should remember this moment.
I'm going to remember this moment that I remember the moment. I got it.
So authorize the comptroller, Janelle McNeil, to attend the 2025 PERMA Annual Member Conference in Verona, New York, from May 14th, 2025 to May 16th, 2025. I've never been to Verona, so I don't know how that is. Authorize the controller to process the following budget transfer for funds not used in 2024 from the SAM grant and New York State construction grant, and that's going from the library fund balance into the library building maintenance SAM grant, so going back into a grant account. And another one, transfer funds not used in 2024 SAM grant back into appropriate building maintenance SAM grant budget code. And those as numerated above. Authorize the controller to process a following budget transfer to pay Helen Lynch the cash value of unused time as of her date of resignation. Total amount of payout $10.05. Authorize the controller to process the following budget transfers to fund workers' compensation self-insured claims. So we have general fund transfer to workers' comp, 127,392.66. Highway transfer to workers' comp of 59,767.43. Special refuse transfer to workers' compensation of 0. Water transfer to workers' compensation, $15,111.52, and sewer transfer to workers' compensation, $3,472.97.
Can you stop there, because I have a question on the next one.
Okay.
This one also deals with workers' comp, but the language says the same thing, budget transfers for workers' comp annual premium and New York State workers' comp assessment fees. What I would like to know, if this is an annual premium, then a known cost. Workers' compensation costs, we don't know, and we fund separately. But it seems to me that an annual premium cost should be part of our regular budget and not come out of the.
Remember, we changed our way of doing workers' comp at the end of the year?
Yeah, that's
to
why.
a different company, so we're not going to be self-funded.
So it has to be moved.
So this is because of PERMA?
believe
Okay.
so.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Damn
so authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfers to fund workers' compensation self-insured claims, as enumerated
I love you, dude.
below. From the Highway Department, authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer for the Highway Department, $36,000. That's for the old Compound Road culvert equipment, for the payments related to temporary traffic lights. Authorize comptroller to process the following budget transfer for the Highway Department, and that is going from fund balance to supplies and materials for salt, $52,000. Probably just in time with the storm coming in again. From the Parks and Recreation Department, authorize the controller to process the following budget transfer for the Parks and Recreation Department, and it is $72,000 for Parks Professional Service, for the aquatic scope of renovation work for the new pool coping for
On the
Weston
grades,
and
yep.
Sampson. This one we might have to table. Authorize the purchase of a 2025 Ford
Check you out.
F-550 Super Cab utility body truck
I think we tabled.
for the
You
Parks
mean you don't have a Fred
Department.
Flintstone truck anymore?
Well,
That's no reason Jimmy's still here.
Authorizing
I
the
appreciate
controller
it.
to process the following budget transfer for the purchase of a 2025 Ford F-550
needed.
Super Cab utility body for the Parks Department. That's $99,773.75 from the committed fund balance of equipment and software into Parks equipment. And that's being purchased at Hempstead Ford under the Westchester County contract. Authorize the following obsolete equipment to be sold at auction, and that is a 1990 John Deere 710 loader backhoe.
Think we got our money's worth out of that one?
I think so.
I think so too.
From the
Want to
pla-
stop there? Again, I'll have
Sure.
issues
Can
on
I have a
that.
motion?
Motion.
All in favor? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, Susan.
This is an issue that's a carryover from 2 weeks ago. I had questions about the fact that we were paying Transpo to review an applicant's traffic study that the applicant acknowledged was an incomplete traffic study. And I said, what's the purpose of him studying an incomplete traffic study?
So we're not paying for it.
Well,
just-
no.
No, that's
Susan,
not the
we
issue.
did have the conversation that there was a second traffic study. One was done so now we have them for both entrance and exits, for going out of Navajo, what the first one was, and then going out on Route 6N with the second one
Well,
was.
for what, I asked the planning department yesterday whether there's been a change in Transpo's proposal. I did not get an answer. And since the cost is the same as the one that I had questions about 2 weeks ago, I'm wondering, and I did send after the meeting, I sent a detailed memo to the town board saying these are the issues that aren't addressed in the traffic study, so Transpo can't address some of the very critical issues in the traffic study. So why not either wait until the applicant provides a better transportation study that addresses these issues and then have Transpo study it? Or what's the sense of Transpo sending in a report saying here are 10 issues that haven't been addressed? It's like, then you're gonna have to hire them again
You want it
to
or
address
me?
those other issues.
Well, I'll just start by saying the cost proposal is unchanged. They know what's coming at them. They're going to look at what comes at them, and they will then review the responses from the applicant to their own comments. That's been confirmed. So
And is this a normal process for that?
this is normal process, yes.
Yeah.
It's a
And,
nor-
and,
normal
and what I'll also do is I will, if we haven't already, which I think we did, forward Susan's and other comments related to her comment on the traffic, and they will evaluate those as well.
It also says not to exceed 6,090, right? Which to me says that 6,090 isn't a fixed cost. It's not to exceed that. So they're assuming that they'll still be able to do it within that line item. It might be 5,000. The last traffic, hold on one second, please. The last thing might have been, less. So now they still think they could do it within that number.
Based on
So
what,
I mean, it's time to put this out there.
based on what we've sent them, that's their cost estimate. But I'm gonna tell you that if other things come up during this course, and I recommend to you that we engage Transpo for further activity, I think that is also a normal activity.
Just to be-
100%.
Normal part of the process.
Now, just to be clear, this money is going to be reimbursed by the applicant, right? The applicant's paying for our traffic consultant to look at their traffic study. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. That is
Thank
the contract that we have with all of our two traffic consultants. And we do vet that with the applicant prior to doing these
No, because
resolutions.
it was stated that the town is paying for it.
The town is
No,
not paying.
Thank you.
no.
That's
No.
what you stated.
Well,
I just want to be clear.
All right, so.
this has always been understood that the applicant pays for it. We hired the person, okay, but the applicant
That's why I
pays.
was surprised when you stated we were
Well,
paying
if
for
I
it.
misspoke, then I apologize for misspeaking.
Well,
But
we want transparency and clarity for.
fine,
our
then I
taxpayers.
misspoke and
Okay.
I apologize. But it's always been clear that the applicant pays for this. But in the memo that I sent on January 22nd, the day after the board
Meeting.
postponed the vote, I have a list of 10 items that are not in the traffic study.
And and our traffic consultant will look at your items.
So,
I think,
but what
Susan-
I'm saying is that even if the traffic consultant says, Susan, only 5 of those are relevant, five of what you say is not relevant, I don't know, but let's just say that, then this town board, which will have to be looking at Transpo's comments, because it's our obligation under seeker to make the determination about
Absolutely.
the adequacy of the record. We're just going to have to go back to Transpo, to the applicant, and say, these are the 5 items you missed. Now, give us your answers. Go back to Transpo with another proposal. Transpo, it's going to...
Well, you'll get Transpo's comments at the same time that it goes to the applicant. So if your 5 things are missing, you'll be able to have a discussion here and tell the applicant before he gets started or produces another report that you want those 5 things regardless of what your advisors have told you.
That's right, and once
It's up to you guys.
And once the applicant provides the missing information that not Susan, but what Transpo said is missing, okay, then we want Transpo to take a look at those those additional answers.
Yes.
To see if they make sense, and then Transpo is going to have to say, "This is my proposal to now look at these."
No, he's already in his proposal to look at the response of the applicant to his comments.
And Susan, if you
say
have
that.
5 new items after they answer the 10, they're going to come back and update it. This is to start the process.
I think it's very, very dangerous to say we're hiring experts from a taxpayer point of view, coming in on a project, to say we're hiring experts, and the experts say that well, you know what, this is irrelevant, and this is irrelevant, and this is irrelevant, and you come back and say, well, I want it anyway, because actually I think that's
You can't. You start getting in trouble if you're disregarding your own experts. That's for
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah, as you've mentioned
Well,
before about
I
legal
think
advice.
I'm not going to spend the time to go read the 10 items, but these are very basic items that are standard in all
They
traffic
have
studies.
that.
So-
that aren't
You
there.
emailed it, and it's going to
All
go
right.
to them.
So I'd like to get that moved, but we'll see. I'll do it separately.
No, I'm not going to stop.
Well,
you know,
I have to
during a traffic
do it. I
study.
have to do it anyway.
So I'm going to
separately.
vote for it.
Authorize Transpo Group USA Inc. to perform a review of the traffic study for the 3000 Navajo Road project.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm seeing if you got it. Sometimes Paul will
I
respond.
was asking, yeah. I
You
asked
did
Paul
not-
too. He
you
didn't
did
answer
not
me.
respond. Okay.
As if I would've gotten the bill.
Authorize the purchase and installation of one M400B2 base station transmitter for the water department. And let me read it in case it answers all the questions again. Whereas it was discovered that there are dead zone areas in the town where the water usage readings are unattainable, and Core and Main conducted a propagation study to determine what equipment would be needed to achieve these readings. And whereas it was concluded that one M400B2 base station transmitter is necessary along with the installation of an 80-foot steel pole and antenna, and whereas the total cost for this project, including the propagation study, is $127,336. Now therefore be resolved that upon the distribution superintendent's recommendation, the town board authorize the water department to purchase and have installed one M400B2 base station transmitter for a total cost of $127,336. Now therefore be it further resolved that the town controller is hereby authorized to process the following budget transfer, which is water fund balance of $63,064.06 into water meters. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Opposed? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Wait, well, hold on a
No, I
second.
think you're good.
Got them all?
Got 'em
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, Yorktown.
Good night, Yorktown.
Thank you all.
Come visit.
If you want to talk, we can talk off.